लाला यू वांटेड टू बी एन आइडियल।
हाँ
भाई को हटा दिया रास्ते से तूने। मैंने देखा है काफी बार, तो मुझे लाइन से दूर ही रहता है। बाकी लोग तेरे साथ पेसअप नहीं कर पा रहे, ये रीजन था अलग होने का?
पता नहीं, ऐसे तो मतलब मैं बहुत
मासूम हूँ।
मासूम भी नहीं, मतलब ऐसे
बेसिकली बोल रहा है गेम ईगो ज्यादा है उसमें।
व्हाट इज दिस मैन, ही इज यूजिंग वर्ड्स लाइक ईगो।
है, अभी क्या कर सकते हैं।
What's up everyone, welcome back, this is Krat and ये है BGMS सीजन 3 का शोडाउन। दो पर्सनालिटीज जो जुड़े हैं मेरे साथ, क्रेजी एक नंबर, मतलब इन्होंने कम्युनिटी पे बहुत दबदबा बना रखा है। मेन कैमरा में दिखा देते दोनों की शक्ल, मैं तो इनको जानता हूँ, आप भी जानते हैं, बट जो नहीं जानते उनके लिए एक छोटा सा क्रिस्प इंट्रोडक्शन प्लीज।
Guys, hello, my name is Clutch God and I'm from team Gujarat Tigers and I'm the IGL of the team.
आईजीएल बोला है।
सेम गाइस, सबको पता ही है। तो मेरा नाम शैडो है और मैं अभी वशिष्ठा स्पोर्ट से खेल रहा हूँ।
और रोल नहीं बताया तूने?
आईजीएल सबको पता ही है।
जितना मुझको याद है, जब दोनों मित्र खेलते थे गुजरात टाइगर्स में,
ओके,
तो आईजीएल कौन था?
मैं ही था।
और तू लाला फिल्टर करता था। हम क्लच गॉड को लाला बोलते हैं। तो ये लाला यू वांटेड टू बी एन आईजीएल, दैट्स व्हाई ऐसा हुआ क्या?
हाँ।
भाई को हटा दिया रास्ते से तूने।
नहीं हटाया।
मैं ही
अभी
सजेस्ट
देखो,
किया।
समझो, अभी ये भी आईजीएल है, ठीक है। अभी मैं तो इसे फिर ये नहीं करूंगा, समझ रहे हो?
क्लैश।
तो मैंने बोला कि ठीक है,
इतने चुपचाप तो नहीं हुआ होगा।
नहीं, थोड़ा अनबन
भी हुआ, पता है एकदम।
थोड़ा देखो, अनबन तो होता ही है। अभी हम लोग ऐसा पर्सनली शेयर नहीं कर सकते, पर मैं ही इसको सजेस्ट किया कि मतलब हमारा नहीं जम रहा है, तू भी आईजीएल कर, मैं भी आईजीएल करता हूँ।
फुल सपोर्ट है। बट अभी कॉन्वर्सेशन को इस पॉइंट से शुरुआत करेंगे कि भाई तुम लोगों ने गॉड लाइक छोड़ी है। मेरे हिसाब से इंडियन कम्युनिटी में अगर किसी को गॉड लाइक में खेलने का मौका मिले, वो लाइनअप नहीं छोड़ेंगे जब तक वो निकाले ना। तुम्हारे में इतना वो था गूदा, तुमने छोड़ दिया लाइनअप। मतलब क्या सोचा था उस टाइम पे? तुम दोनों एक साथ गए थे ना सेम छोड़ के?
हाँ।
उस टाइम पे क्या थॉट्स थे?
पहले तो मेरे को छोड़ना था, मेरे को तो मेन था, क्योंकि वो लोग घुटने से डिसीजन लेते थे, तो मेरे को
हाँ, मुझे भी छोड़ना था, इसे भी छोड़ना था, क्योंकि इसे भी आईजीएल करना था और उस वक्त एक न्यू प्लेयर आता जेली, तो वो आईजीएल हो रहा था, तो इसे भी अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था, मुझे भी अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था, क्योंकि मुझे भी कुछ न्यू एक्सपीरियंस करना था। हो गया था खेल कर।
अभी रियल में तो पता है, उन लोग ऐसा एक टीम बोले थे मेरे को, जो कि मैं कभी जिंदगी में
हमारे पास ऑप्शन था गॉड लेक में
रहने का था, तो मैं मेन आईजीएल रहता। लाला, जॉनी और जेली वाला पॉसिबल ही नहीं है।
लाला, जॉनी और
जेली।
हमने कुछ और ये किया था, मैं, ये, जॉनी
और एक और असॉल्टर, हम लोग मेरे सब पिक करेंगे कोई भी,
पर वो कैन हो गया।
बट ये जो सेगमेंट है लाला वर्सेस अर्जुन भाई पर, मतलब शैडो वर्सेस क्लच गॉड पे, तो अभी ये रहेगा कि भाई शुरुआत ये करेंगे कि अब मेन इशू ये था कि तूने डिसीजन लिया कि भाई हमें रश करना है या होल्ड करना है। अरे इशू मुझे सुनने में आया कि लाला बहुत आनाकानी करता था पीछे से, कि भाई डिसीजन इनकी, इसकी लीडरशिप अलग से आ रही थी, बीइंग अ फिल्टर ये तेरी कॉल्स को सरपास कर रहा था।
ऐसा तो मतलब हमारे टीम में नहीं, अगर कॉल दिया तो ये तो मतलब फॉलो ही करता था, ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि तेरा कॉल है तू देख, ऐसे
नूब्स को समझ नहीं आता है ना।
ये मेरे पे तेरा शॉट्स
नहीं, जो मतलब बैकग्राउंड में जो लोगों को देखा ना कि हम लोग आनाकानी करते थे, वैसा कुछ नहीं था।
मतलब पर फिर 3 प्लेयर यहाँ पे क्यों गए? लाला अकेला क्यों रह गया? 2 होते ना बराबर, तो तुम कुछ तो छुपा रहे हो यहाँ पे। तुम गीता की कसम खा के बैठो, सच बताओ।
सुनो,
ये बताएगा, चलो
अभी मैं बता रहा हूँ, ठीक है। अभी टीम फॉर्म की हमने, ठीक है, मैं और ये सबसे एकदम स्टार्ट से। फिर इसने 2 पिक किए, इसके 2 पिक थे, ठीक है। अभी मैं उनको तोड़कर थोड़ी ना ऐसा कि पूरा लफड़ा लेकर ऐसा तो नहीं करूंगा, तो मैंने इसके साथ छोड़ दिया उन दोनों को, ताकि समझ रहे हो उतना डिफिकल्टी भी ना हो, सब भी ना हो। फिर मेरे पे था कि मुझे चाहिए था एकदम स्टार्ट से, जब मैंने गॉड लेक भी छोड़ी ना, तब से मुझे ही चाहिए था कि मैं आईजीएल करूं, पर इसके साथ वो मेरे पास फ्रीडम था कि मैं भी अपना फ्री मैन काइंड ऑफ ओपिनियन डाल सकता हूँ, पर लास्ट कॉल इसके ही रहेगा, वैसा था। बट फिर बाद में जो भी हुआ XYZ, उसके बाद फिर मेरे पे पूरा ही ये हो गया कि मुझे मन किया कि पूरा
स्क्रैच से स्टार्ट करना।
हाँ, मैं ही पूरा करता हूँ आईजीएल।
तो लाला यू आर स्टार टाइगर, मतलब मैंने देखा है काफी बार, काफी पुराने टूर्नामेंट में मैं कास्ट किया और देखा हो, तो मुझे लाइनअप से दूर ही रहता है। यू आर द स्काउटर वन गेटिंग मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ फिनिशेस, बट क्या ये रीजन भी है कि यू आर ट्राइंग योर बेस्ट, तू बहुत अच्छा खेल रहा है, तेरे स्टैट्स भी अच्छे हैं, बाकी लोग तेरे साथ पेसअप नहीं कर पा रहे, ये रीजन था अलग होने का? ऐसा कुछ सोचा था कभी?
पता नहीं, ऐसे तो मतलब मैं बहुत
मासूम हूँ।
मासूम भी नहीं, मतलब ऐसे काइंड ऑफ ऐसे बोल सकते हो, बहुत लोग मुझे बोल सकते हैं कॉकी प्लेयर ऐसा।
एक एग्जांपल दो तेरे कॉकीनेस की, मैं भी देखूं लाला, बिकॉज़ यू आर अ सॉफ्ट स्पोकन गाय। मे बी शायद इन गेम एक डेविल फेस आता होगा तेरा।
बेसिकली बोल रहा है गेम ईगो ज्यादा है उसमें, कि हाँ मैं कर सकता हूँ।
व्हाट इज दिस मैन, ही इज यूजिंग वर्ड्स लाइक ईगो। कुछ जवाब देना पड़ेगा, अर्जुन भाई गलत कर रहे हैं।
है उसमें अभी, वो मानता है।
मैं सबको मुंह पे ही बोलता हूँ, सब है अभी, क्या कर सकते हैं।
वो अग्री करते हैं, उसमें क्या है।
कितने प्रतिशत लोगों को लगता है कि लाला के चेहरे पे देख के इसमें ईगो? मुझे बहुत, इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू
रॉ
इमेजिन।
पिक्चर थोड़ी मिलता है अभी सब टीम का पूरा।
मतलब मैं भरोसा नहीं करना चाहता।
सिर्फ फ्रैगिंग अच्छी नहीं करता ओवरऑल
क्या
गेम।
मतलब बोल सकता है, देखिए इट्स ओपन माइक स्टैंड
वही
अप।
बोलो, सिर्फ फ्रैगिंग अच्छी नहीं करता, सिर्फ स्पेसिफिकली फ्रैगिंग नहीं, सब कुछ सारे एस्पेक्ट्स।
कोई एलिगेशन लगाई थी कि किसी ने, मतलब अर्जुन भाई ने लगाई थी? किसने बोला था? किसी ने बोला था? अभी शैडो मुझे ये पूछना है, जानना है कि मतलब लाला को मेरा इनवाइट, ठीक है, यू गाइस हैड टू कम थ्रू क्वालिफायर्स, और वी ऑल नो दैट क्वालिफायर्स का रन कितना टफ था। इट इज अनफेयर कि भाई यार 3 प्लेयर तो मेरे पास है, मुझे नहीं मिला, लाला को ऐसा क्यों हुआ? गुस्सा नहीं आया तुझे?
गुस्सा आया, पर अभी परफॉर्मेंस ही हमारी वैसी नहीं थी ना कि इनवाइट मिल जाए।
अगर ये लोग लाला और नए लाइनअप के साथ जाते क्वालिफाई में, लगता है क्वालिफाई हो पाते?
नहीं।
कुछ बताना, मतलब इनकी टीम का नया लाइनअप कैसा लगा तुझे लाला का?
अच्छा लगा, पर थोड़ा सा एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए ऐसा, मतलब सिंक चाहिए।
लाला के पास है ना एक्सपीरियंस,
इसके पास है, बाकी
लाला इनकी टीम एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है।
बाकी जिनके पास नहीं है ना, इसके साथ सिंक, इसका गेम प्लान ही अलग है।
अरे व्हाट इज दिस मैन, दिस गाय इज बैक टू बैक गिविंग एलिगेशंस मैन, क्या तरीका है? रिप्लाई कर।
एलिगेशन थोड़ी दे रहा हूं, जो है वो बता रहा हूं।
क्या बोलूं, कुछ नहीं बोलने का।
जलता है क्या मजनू?
कुछ देखो, बोल के कुछ फायदा ही नहीं है, परफॉर्मेंस
नॉट प्लेइंग टू सेफ। बट शैडो मुझे ये बता कि लेट्स से कि ये टूर्नामेंट खत्म होता है ना, जो भी तुम्हें डिजायर रिजल्ट से मिल जाते हैं, दिमाग के किसी कोने में एक थॉट है कि क्लच गॉड के साथ एक और बार लाइनअप बनाया जाएगा, भरोसा करके फिर से एक बार रेस में भागेंगे साथ में, ऐसा?
देखो अभी अगर वैसा तो हो नहीं सकते
अभी नहीं हो सकता, बट आने वाले टाइम पे
नहीं, आने वाले टाइम पे भी नहीं सकते।
आईजीएल
अब आईजीएल होगा। अब मैंने उसको बोला, फोर्स किया कि तू आईजीएल कर, मतलब मेरा एक एज अ फ्रेंड पर्सनल ओपिनियन दिया कि अगर तेरे को मेरे साथ नहीं जम रहा है।
ये बहुत स्ट्रांग स्टेटमेंट है कि मतलब फ्यूचर में 1% चांस है कि तू और क्लच गॉड साथ में खेल सकते हैं।
नहीं,
कुछ तो हुआ है, देख जनता आवाम जानना चाहती है यार, क्लच गॉड हिंट तो देना, ऐसा क्या हो गया?
अभी दो आईजीएल एक टीम में कैसे खेल सकते हैं?
हाँ, मतलब प्रॉपर, मतलब समझ रहे हो, अभी मैं बता रहा हूँ सच में, मेरा है फ्रंट पे खेलो जितना ये कर सकते हो, फास्ट पेस जो भी है।
और शैडो भी तो काइंड ऑफ सिमिलर नहीं है, एग्रेसिव खिलाना पसंद करता है अपनी टीम को एम पर।
पर अभी उसको क्या पता मेरे डिसीजन अच्छे नहीं लग रहे होंगे, खुद से करवाना चाहते हैं स्क्रैच।
अभी तो जो नया पॉइंट टेबल है वो तुम दोनों को फेवर करता है भाई, तुम क्या से ड्रामे कर रहे हो? कोई जवाब नहीं है।
देखो अभी
बोलना चाहता है, एक बार आंखें बंद कर और बह जा, बह जा, पकड़ ले ला।
मैं तो नहीं सकता, पर वही अभी देखो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, अभी चेंज ऑफ प्लान्स हो गए। मैं तो खुद ही बोला इसको कि तू ये आईजीएल कर, अच्छी टीम देख, फिर हम लोग साथ में कॉम्पीट करेंगे।
क्वाइट फेयर। पर यार देख, एक साल पहले याद है हमने एक शूट किया था यहीं पर बैठकर, और उस टाइम पे रिच रिच था सेगमेंट का नाम, मतलब तेरे पास पैसा तो है। 2024 में लाला को सबसे ज्यादा भूख किस चीज की है? खाना मत बोलो।
2-3 ट्रॉफी,
2-3 ट्रॉफी चाहिए, और आपको भी ऐसी कोई हंगर है?
वही प्रूफ करना है।
छोड़ दी है पूरी।
नहीं, प्रूफ करना ही है।
किसको प्रूफ करना? लाला को?
लाला हो गया,
बेटा
सबको ही, जिसको
मुझे रन लेना है, रन 1 साल का पूरा डोमिनेशन वैसा।
ये एक अच्छा सपना है आपका, कुछ ऐसा नहीं है? प्रूव ही करना है बस आपको।
मुश्किल है अभी।
सीजन 3 में क्या होगा ये बता दे। लुकिंग फॉर ट्रॉफी, पोडियम, टॉप 5, टॉप 10, क्या बोला?
मतलब अभी डिपेंड करता है ना कैसे मैसेज जाते हैं, क्योंकि मैचेस भी बहुत कम है। मतलब स्टार्टिंग वाले क्वालिफायर थी, मतलब 4 गेम है, टॉप 18 आना है, कुछ भी हो सकता है।
मतलब 24 में से टॉप 18 आने में तुझे डर लग रहा है अर्जुन? ये तो अपोलो, विस्की, मैक्स, क्या कर?
डर नहीं है मेरे को, कुछ भी हो सकता है।
सीक्रेट है मतलब ये, दिस इज अ क्रेजी इनक्रेडिबल लाइनअप भाई, इसमें भी डर लग रहा है तुझे?
देखो
लाइक सेम थिंग विलिंग यू।
कुछ लोगों के पास फैन वोट है, तो वो लोग कैसा भी खेल सकते हैं। हर टीम के पास फैन वोट नहीं होता।
ये तो सच बात है।
तुम दोनों के पास कम ऑडियंस है भाई। तुम
अगर हम दोनों
अभी समझो ठीक है,
हम दोनों कोई ज्यादा फैन बेस वाले से टक्कर ले लिए तो क्या करेंगे?
6 टीम बाहर होगी,
और उसमें से
6 में से 2 हम रहे समझ लो, और 2 फैन फेवरेट रहे, तो वही हार गए।
मैं ये क्या कह रहा हूं, तुम्हें शर्म आनी चाहिए कि इतने एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर हो के तुम बॉटम 6 को क्यों सोच रहे हो?
बॉटम 6 नहीं सोच रहे हम लोग, ये उनके पास एक सेकंड चांस है, तो वो लोग कैसा भी खेल सकते हैं, हम लोग ऐसा नहीं खेल सकते।
मतलब वो लोग सोच रहे हो अगर उनको अभी
चलो मर गए, चलो कोई नहीं, फैन बेस है, बचा लेगा।
सोच रहे कि ना तो है,
हम लोग वैसे थोड़ी खेल सकते। अभी हम लोग उनके साथ अटक गए वैसा ही खेल के, तो फिर क्या?
यस ना,
उन पे एक फ्रीडम है, मतलब
यस ना, यस। वो तो टीम इजी है मारने के लिए, ऐसा कुछ इशू।
बट एक तो एक्स पार्क से पंगे ले रहे हैं, और कौन सी टीम से?
मतलब उधर बहुत बसड़ हो जाएगा कि
तो अभी ऑलरेडी 2-3 टीम हो रही है ना, मेरे ख्याल से गॉर्जन भी जाएगी, टीएक्स भी जाएगी।
हां, केमिन भी है शायद। कौन सी?
मुझे सुनने में आया कि मिल्टा जाओ। मिल्टा में बहुत फन है आजकल।
मिल्टा है,
समझ में आ रहा है। मिल्टा में क्यों जाते हैं? मिल्टा में बहुत फन हो रहा है, 3 टीमें मिलेंगी तुम्हें, सेंसे मिलेगा, जेली मिल जाएगा। सोचा नहीं मिल्टा जाने का?
हमारे यहाँ ऑलरेडी फन है सारे ड्रॉप्स पे, मेरे में तो सारे पे।
कंटेनर पे भी हमको, हमारे मिनास
मुझे वादे तो बहुत सारे करे गए थे तुम्हारी तरफ से कि बहुत फन होगा, पर ठीक है It was little fun, थोड़ा सा ना मूड ठीक हो गया होगा, है ना? But अभी आप इन सब लोगों को, जितने लोग देख रहे हैं, आप सबको BGMS में दिखोगे। कुछ बोलना चाहते हो अपने फैंस को कि भाई कितना सपोर्ट करें, क्या चल रहा है, आप कुछ मैसेज देना चाहो दे सकते हो।
मैसेज तो ये रहेगा कि अभी क्वालिफाई करके आए तो ट्रस्ट रखो, अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे।
इनवाइटेड हूँ ब्रो। वेट करो गाइस परफॉर्मेंस का।
कुछ बोल नहीं सकता है कि हमने कमाया है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोलना।
उन सबको ही पता है हमने कमाए हैं, तो क्या है।
So ये थे हमारे क्लच रिकॉर्ड, और साथ में हमारे अर्जुन भाई के शैडो, गुजरात टाइगर्स के आईजीएल वर्सेस द ई स्पोर्ट्स के आईजीएल, और ये दोनों मिलेंगे आपको हाई पेस ऑक्टेन बीजीएमआई खेलते हुए इन बीजीएमएस सीजन 3। अगले एपिसोड में मिलते हैं, टिल देन कीप गेमिंग।
It's the weekend, and it means the Impact players are back. Welcome to the Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garniers Man, where I'm going to be your host and caster Necro. John alongside with me on the panel, it's going to be none other than Shai Shanu himself. And as I mentioned, it's the Impact players. And now, today's focus is pretty much going to be on that, because we know this one single man has the chance to change his entire team's fate.
Don't just remind me of the fact how Hunters pulled off that massive 49-point gamer with Reckoning Esports. Now, these are the kind of situations that I'm also looking forward to see this week itself, because now the stakes are even higher.
Yeah.
There are a lot of teams that have got an opportunity to breach into that top 4, probably take the third and spot away, but you need to have this kind of banger performance.
I mean, talk about the banger performance, and who else can be better than Aimgod from the Raven Esports? This man has been performing at the top of his performance, but for teams like Team X Spark, at this point in time, they've pretty much given up. So it's really good for them to move on forward and sabotage a bit of games here and there for the other teams. Just try and make sure that you're griefing their games and make sure they won't be there in the top 4.
I mean, you just want to watch the world burn, right?
Absolutely.
And you know what? The only person who'd probably sit right next to you eating popcorns is going to be me as well, because I want to see that same action too. And not just from Team X-Spark, but also from teams like Team Z, Team 8-Bit, who basically got nothing to lose now. They cannot enter into that top 4 whatsoever. So they might as well just utilize this Impact player and grab as many finishes as possible.
Hey, but for the viewers that are joining in for the first time on this weekend of the BGMS Season 3, what an Impact player exactly is. On the weekends, the IGL of the team will draw one random player from his team to be the Impact player. And each finish the player gets will be counted as 2 points. So that's a big advantage for the teams on the first half of the board, especially for the top 4. If they want to keep their position pinned down in that top 4, that's going to be really crucial. For the teams that are looking forward to breaching that top 4, this one single man can instantly change the team's fate.
I was looking at the entire leaderboard itself, right, which we'll also have a look in a while, but I was also watching the fact how there were teams like Team Forever as well, and they've got an opportunity to breach in.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Let's move on and look at this video and find out which are those Impact players for these individual teams.
इस एक बोल ने जो एक्साइटमेंट दिखाई हमें एंड्रॉइड BGMS सीजन 3 पावर्ड बाय गार्नियर मैन में, अब मैं आपको क्या बताऊं। स्वागत है आपका इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर ड्रॉ में, एंड सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं है कि इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर क्या होता है, क्योंकि अगर आपने सर्वाइवल वीक में रेकनिंग के हंटर्स और आईक्यू सोल के रोनी की परफॉर्मेंस देखी है, यू नो व्हाट वी आर इन फॉर। लेकिन जो नए हमारे दोस्त हैं जो जुड़ रहे हैं हमारी ब्रॉडकास्ट पे, उनको मैं जरा समझा देता हूं कि इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर रूल है क्या। तो देखिए, इस बोल में 20 टीम के सारे प्लेयर्स के नाम हैं, और यहाँ पे हर टीम का IGL आएगा और एक चिट निकालेगा। उस चिट में जिसका भी नाम लिखा होगा, टॉप 2 फ्रैगर्स या टीम का कोई और मेंबर, वो बन जाएगा इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर। IGL खुद इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर बन सकता है इफ दे ड्रॉ देयर ओन नेम। सबसे अमेजिंग बात, ये प्लेयर जो भी पॉइंट निकालेगा उसको हम कर देंगे डबल, और अगर वो पॉइंट निकालते हैं पावर प्ले में तो वो हो जाएगा 4 टाइम्स 4 गुना हो जाएंगे वो पॉइंट्स। तो वक्त जाया नहीं करेंगे, बुलाते हैं हमारे IGLs को और देखते हैं कि डोमिनेशन वीक में कौन होगा हर टीम का इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर।
And off the start, it's going to be Shadow from Vasista Esports. And who's he going to be from Vasista? Wixkey, nicely done. Wixkey has been the main playmaker for a lot of the times from Vasista Esports. Nothing taken away from the rest of the guys. But then KSR7 from One Blade, it's also going to be quite an interesting pick, because One Blade, they still do stand a chance if KSR7 frags out.
Absolutely. Shikari Jord for WSB. I like this. Want to see how he's going to perform, because he was there, but yeah, it's still been a little more silent from his side.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, God's Arena is one of those teams that is doing pretty hot. So, yeah, that Impact player, interesting stuff. But then moving forward, it's also going to be Ninja Jot from Team X-Park. Now, that's another banger of a player to be back over here in the race.
True.
And then you've also got Raven Esports now coming through, and it's going to be AimGod. As I mentioned, no other player than AimGod has been performing so well for that team, and it's well-deserved.
Let's see whose soul gets. It's Ronnie again. He was the only man who occupied the best possibility with that Impact player rule. 4 players, and that too in the power play, and that too with the bounty.
Oh, Global Esports had Beast. I mean, he has been on a beast of a form, and now he's over there. Ninja Jot from Team X-Park is right there too, as I mentioned. And for AKOP, it's going to be Team OG. Interesting. Now, AKOP has been one of those players. In a recent form, he has been doing really good. So let's see how the future looks like for OG now.
Jonathan forgot, like, all right. I guess the fans are going to be happy because the man is in form itself. And Destro for Mogo. That we'll have to see now. There have been situations where Destro is pretty good, but he's been kept silent.
Yeah,
fairly
I mean, for
silent.
Mogo Esports, things haven't been looking that great, right? They have been playing that passive playstyle, but now because this Impact player rule, maybe this will be the motivation that the players need to go on aggressive in the lobby. Somraj himself will be for Entity. I mean, Somraj is not one of those players likes to be in the front lines. Somraj is going to be a tough pill for that man to swallow. But then Seth from Revenant Esports. Revenant Esports is really close to that top 4. Team Z, it will be Scouts. Interesting. The man himself, the IGL himself, will be the Impact player. A lot of the players this time are the IGLs itself.
Exactly, as you mentioned, that's another IGL, but it's time for 8-bit now. Who's gonna be from 8-bit? It's Mac.
So that's it. हमें मिल चुके हैं हमारे 20 टीम के इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर्स एंड लास्ट टाइम व्हाट हैपेंड कुछ इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर्स की परफॉर्मेंस बहुत कमाल थी एंड कुछ इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर्स वर वेरी अंडरवेलमिंग. क्या आईजीएल्स होंगे खुश क्योंकि इन इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर्स पर होगी सबकी नजर. तो एंड्रॉइड बीजीएमएस सीजन 3 पावर्ड बाय गार्नियर मेन में कितनी तबाही मचने वाली है इन डोमिनेशन वीक? वेल वील फाइंड आउट.
Speaking about some of the returning Impact players, right? You've got Ronnie, Mac from 8-bit. And for 8-bit, Mac has always been a questionable pick, right? Because last time when we saw the man towards the weekend, Mac wasn't able to perform at all. And now the fact that Mac is going to be there for 8-bit once again, I'm not sure what's going to be changing. As we move on towards the Impact players of the individual team, Beast for Global Esports, that's the perfect choice. AKOB for Team OG couldn't have been better. You've got AimGod as well for Raven Esports, that's perfect. Gravity Jot for Reckoning Esports. He's the IGL, he will have a lot on his shoulder now.
True, but that's Jonathan for the side of God. Like, you know, they're going to be pretty happy. As I said, the man is in form. The team is playing around him. Seth for Revenant as well. Flock is the one who's been performing like a madman, but Seth is just following him as well, not that far behind. Manti for the side of Team Tamilas too, I think so it's pretty solid. Because again, apart from Maxi, Manti is the one who always steps up.
I mean, for God's Green, Venom is once again over there, and you clearly saw the disappointment on the face whenever the cheat was pulled out, so it makes a lot of sense. Last time when Venom was the Impact player, he wasn't able to get a lot done. So hopefully this time it's going to be a different course, right? But God's Green, they've anyways been doing really good in the overall standings. They're doing quite nice towards the first half of the board. So it's nothing really to complain. This day is going to be super crucial for the teams in the top 4 to sustain that spot because all the other teams underneath them, they will definitely give it all to breach up forward.
Absolutely. And this is basically one of the golden opportunity to try and breach into that top 4 because as you mentioned, there were some Impact players that had an immaculate impact. Something like Ronnie, who pulled out a banger of a performance. If I'm not wrong, that was a 26-pointer that he pulled for himself. Then you also have players like the Hunters too. And again, there were players like Admino who could not find their footing. So it was mixed with all. But I still feel that it was actually pretty solid. But you know, there's another good thing that's also happening.
What? What's happening, man?
That's a fun giveaway out there. Since it's weekend, we've got always got those Impact players. We've also got the giveaway. So very 2 simple conditions. Either 10,000 likes before the match 1 or 50,000 comments before match 2. And you shall find the form that will be open for the 10-minute window. Fill it and you can win the giveaway.
Oh, that sounds super exciting. But you know what else is going to be super exciting? It's going to be the stage. So let's go back to the stage and see what Serene's cooking up.
Here I am, Godlike के booth पे, and Johnny भी यहीं है. He's in the middle of some practice. Johnny, continue. मैं side by side बात करता रहूँगा तुझसे. वो last line जो हमारा last interview था ऑर्केस्ट्रा वाली ना, वो इतनी viral हो जाएगी कि लोग उसकी दुआई देंगे. I didn't सॉरी मेरे भाई। अब इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर बन गए हो एंड तुम्हारे और जो टीम 4th स्पॉट पे है उसमें 49 पॉइंट्स यानी कि 49 पॉइंट्स का डिफरेंस है। आर यू गिविंग योरसेल्फ अ शॉट?
व्हाट डू यू थिंक क्या होगा?
I don't know man, क्योंकि इतने सारे IGL से बात करके I'm unable to figure out के do they want to go into the playoffs, get some more practice, try and iron out those wrinkles, या वो सीधा finals में जगह पाना चाहते हैं. So I want to ask you.
So right now we are just planning like to get more practice. अभी जैसे playoffs is coming, so we just plan कि अभी जैसे ही aggressive खेलेंगे थोड़ा like momentum gain करेंगे वो सब, ताकि in playoffs we can show everyone कि who we are.
जॉनी, कभी कभी ना जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस का भार होता है उसमें बहुत लोग जो है वो बह जाते हैं, दब जाते हैं. यू वर द सीजन 1 MVP. यू हैव शोन सम एब्सोल्यूट साइंस ऑफ ब्रिलियंस, लेकिन अब गॉडलाइक 13 स्पॉट पे है एंड एवरीबडी इज जस्ट वेटिंग के जॉनी का वो बिल्कुल तबाही वाला अवतार, तबाही मोड जो है वो कब आएगा.
यार लाइक आई एम ऑल्सो वेटिंग कि एक बार वो लाइक टीम को एक वो कैच मिल जाए. जैसे टीम को कैच मिलते ही लाइक वहाँ से बूम होने वाला है. सो आई एम जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर दैट टाइम. फिर जैसे ही आते ही वापस सीजन 1 वाला आपको 20 दिखेगा वापस से.
Listen, just as a buddy, I want to just tell you कि इतने सारे players हैं. Every single time I meet you, I mean, for someone who's probably one of the most popular players, I don't think you ever take that pressure on yourself. मतलब तू सबसे ऐसे ही मिलता है, like we're all buddies जैसे होना चाहिए. But Johnny, when you wear that jersey, when you have godlike written on your chest, वो भार जो है, do you feel it when you're in your hotel room या जब fans के messages आते हैं that मुझे godlike को वो trophy जितानी है?
लाइक हम चारों का लाइक एक ही मोटिव है, लाइक ट्रॉफी जीतना. लाइक जैसे क्रॉन्टन, अमर, लाइक हम सारे लोग का लाइक एक ही ड्रीम है, लाइक ट्रॉफी जीतना है. सो लाइक जितना भी टाइम लगे, 1 साल 2 साल आएगा, बट कभी ना कभी टाइम आएगा फॉर श्योर, उठाते दिखेगा हम ट्रॉफी और कुछ नहीं.
Many IGLs जिनके अंडर आप खेले हो, have you found the guy with the right guidance?
Like I've played under many IGL, Shadow, Jelly, then Punk. Like ऐसा नहीं कि मैं किसी को ऊपर नीचे दिखाऊंगा, but everyone is great for me. जितने भी IGLs के अंडर खेला हूँ मैं, so यार ऐसे ही कुछ बोलूँगा, but everyone is great. That's it.
Keep an eye out on him क्योंकि आज godlike का impact player है Jonathan. A little break and we'll be back.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
As the grand finals keep on getting closer, the room for error keeps on getting less and less. And that's what now the teams are starting to realize. Yesterday, you can't say it was the last chance for the teams on the latter half of the board to initiate a comeback, but some of them still failed. But some, they still do stand a solid chance. Considering today the impact player rules being announced, let's see who's going to be the one to make that bang happen. But yesterday, the action kicked off in quite an interesting fashion. Global Esports with the third party wiping out the entirety of IQ's Soul, but then later on, Team Forever's Ash pulling off a miraculous clutch, or pretty much saving the day for themselves.
Absolutely. The important fight being won by Team Forever, still keeping them in the top 10 on that leaderboard. But Carnival Gaming, they had a fight. They wanted to prepare for Team Tamilas, but were not prepared for Vashishta, wherein over towards the end, it was just Mogo, Global Esports, Carpe Diem, all the way for the three-way tie.
Global Esports had a banger of a day yesterday, and as we mentioned, all they needed to do was pin their spot down in the top 4, and Global Esports, they did that perfectly. This fight started in quite a weird fashion. We all thought Vasista Esports, they don't stand a chance in this fight anymore, but then Secret comes with a miraculous performance and strikes down everyone that stood against him. Team Tamilas, they started things off with a bang as well, but Team Tamilas, somewhere down line, they were slowly and steadily failing in their actions.
And another fail occurred for Soul as well when they faced off the Gods Reign themselves. They were able to take them down, and Team X-Park showed some signs of life, but Global Esports were just playing on another globe, not stopping whatsoever, starting things off with Team Tamilas, following up with Vashishta Esports.
Every man from Global Esports was feeling the heat, and they were performing up to the mark. Revenant versus Team Forever was quite a nice fight, but Sensei finding that important pick, it just put this team in a big advantage.
We are on a Saturday, lekin agle Sunday, only one team is going to get their hands on this trophy. Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garnier Men. Mein aapka swagat hai. We are at the Android Arena. Just take a look at this. Ye sari team, they are in the fray. 4 teams, they have the advantage kyunki un 4 teams ko milega a direct ticket to go into the final. 16 teams जाएंगी playoff में, but मैं reverse इसलिए जा रहा हूँ क्योंकि आज सब लोग फॉरवर्ड चार्ज करने वाले हैं. 4 टीम्स के पास मौका है टू गेट दैट डायरेक्ट टिकट, लेकिन बाकी 16 टीम्स का क्या होगा, क्योंकि पॉइंट्स टेबल पे इतनी उथल-पुथल देखी है. माय गॉड, इट्स वर्स देन द स्टॉक मार्केट, क्योंकि कुछ टीम्स ऊपर जाती हैं और अगले ही दिन वो टीम्स जो है वो गिरने लगती हैं. सो टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक टू 2 टीम्स, एक जो चौथे स्पॉट पे है टीम तमिलास, एंड एक टीम जो 7वें स्पॉट पे है विच इज टीम रेवेनेंट. तो इनके आईजीएल्स को बुलाते हैं. एक मतलब इसके बारे में मैं क्या ही बताऊं, क्योंकि भाई जो है वो कंटेंट के मामले में और चिकन डिनर निकालने के मामले में राजा है. एंड मिस्टर आईजीएल ऑफ टीम तमिलास. लिसन सेंसे, गुड टू हैव यू. भाई आप 7वें स्पॉट पे हो, 4 चिकन डिनर आपके नाम आए हैं, ये चौथे स्पॉट पे हैं. इट ऑलमोस्ट फील्स लाइक दिस इज गोइंग टू गो डाउन टू द वायर. क्या आज के मैचेस के साथ वो 4 स्पॉट्स में से एक स्पॉट आपका होगा?
नहीं, मैं कल ट्राई करूंगा वो सब. आज हम एक और एवरेज गेम निकालने का ट्राई करेंगे, और ताकि मैं नहीं चाहता कल स्टार्टिंग के गेम्स हम पे बाउंड्री पॉइंट्स के लिए टीम पुश करे फालतू में हमारे ड्रॉप्स पाए. तो मैं ट्राई करूंगा कल से करो और कल से गेम दिखाऊं.
फुल चाणक्य टाइप फीलिंग दी है भाई ने, षड्यंत्र. ओके ब्रो, we had the impact player draw. Are you happy with your impact player?
கண்டிப்பாக ஹாப்பி. ஏன்னா மேக்ஸி அண்ட் மேண்டி ரெண்டு பேருமே MVP லிஸ்ட்டில் இருக்காங்க. ஸோ மேண்டியுமே நல்ல ஃபினிஷ் அக்ரெசிவான ஒரு பிளேயர். रियली हैप्पी फॉर दैट.
ऑब्वियसली बहुत खुश हैं क्योंकि मैंटी जो है वो फिनिशेस भी निकाल रहे हैं, अग्रेसिव खेल रहे हैं, तो खुशी तो बिल्कुल जाहिर है. जैसे क्या कोई टीम है जिसको आप टारगेट कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज यू मेड अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कि आज उस पर फोकस नहीं होगा क्योंकि आप नहीं चाहते कि कल बाउंटी हो. यू गोइंग टू गो फॉर द फुल थ्रॉटल टुमारो, कंसिडरिंग कि अगर आज परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी आई, कोई नहीं सोचेगा ना कि आज परफॉर्म नहीं करना है, करना तो पड़ेगा, बट वो चौथे स्पॉट पे ना जाए.
हाँ मतलब ऐसे तो है, लेकिन मैं कह रहा हूँ जानबूझ के थोड़ा मतलब मैं हम्बल रहना चाहता हूँ ना, बचना नहीं चाहता, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत सारे टीम में से कुछ ऐसे प्लेयर जो पहले बच लेते हैं और फिर पास में परफॉर्मेंस नहीं आता, तो मुझे उनकी कैटेगरी में नहीं आना. और बाकी यही है कि आज नॉर्मल खेलेंगे और मैं किसी टीम को टारगेट नहीं कर रहा हूँ. जो रास्ते में आई आंधी है, आंधी किसी को भी ले जाती है जो पहले आता है.
ये लाइन है भाई, एक के बाद एक कतल भाई. ओके मिस्टर आईजीएल, you guys are very very aggressive and we have seen it in your play, the way you have gone in the bounty and the power plays, but are you looking at a chicken dinner just to get that extra momentum before we come to the playoffs? Because who knows, you might not be in the playoffs.
கண்டிப்பாக நாங்கள் ஃபஸ்ட்டு ப்ளே பண்ணுறது பவர் பிளேன்ற ஒரு சிஸ்டம் இருக்குது. அதுக்காண்டி தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு ப்ளே மேக்ஸிமம் நம்பர் ஆஃப் ஃபினிஷஸ் வந்து பவர் பிளேலேயே நாங்கள் எடுக்க ட்ரை பண்ணுறோம். அண்ட் தென் மொமெண்டம் நல்லா இருந்துச்சுன்னா எகைன் ஃபைட் எடுக்க ட்ரை பண்ணுறோம், இல்லைனா கடைசி வரை ஃபுல்லாக டின்னர் எடுக்கிறது தான் பிளான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
देखिए सिस्टम्स जो हैं वो बिल्कुल इन प्लेस हैं. सेंसे भी समझ चुका है, सेंसे वो पूरी तरीके से नॉट कर रहा था. क्या बोल रहा था?
आई एग्री विद हिम.
भाई सिंपल है, पावर प्ले में जितने पॉइंट्स निकाल सको निकालो, और उसके बाद अगर किसी टीम के साथ फाइट करनी है तो वहाँ पे आप देखो कि चिकन डिनर जो है वो निकाला जा सकता है कि नहीं. बॉयज दिस हैज बीन फैबुलस, थैंक यू सो मच एंड बेस्ट लक फॉर टुडे. क्योंकि हु नोज के जो 4 स्पॉट्स हैं उनमें से क्या रेवेनेंट का नाम आएगा या टीम तमिलास उन 4 स्पॉट्स में ही बरकरार रहेंगी. बॉयज व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दैट?
Listen, man, Sensei is just a funny guy, okay? I mean, you can't really keep your laugh away whenever you see Sensei on the camera. I mean, he would do something to make you laugh. But yeah, I mean, Manti clearly mentioned this, right? Try and take as many points as possible in the power play. Then later on, go for a chill game in the mid phase and probably try and close things off with a chicken dinner. If you can't really get a chicken dinner, it's fine. You've already gotten a decent amount of points from the power play itself.
True, and that's the best part about Mr. Igil, right? He knows, he trusts Maxi and Manti, both of them so much. And it's just the performance that always comes out from both of these players whenever need be or whenever push comes to show. But yes, at the same time, as you mentioned, for Sensei as well, I talked to him a while back and he said the exact same thing, that he's not looking to come in top 4 whatsoever. He's going to make sure that he stays in the breaching position so that once the last push comes in, he's able to quickly enter in that top 4 position.
Exactly, but let's move on and look at the head-to-head between Team Timilas and Revenant Esports. Both the teams have played equal amount of games, but if you talk about the finishes, it's Revenant Esports taking the cake here. They've been 84 placement points and then 223 points in total, while Team Timilas, they've only gotten 211 points. Maybe a little bit of a miscalculation in the head-to-head over here, but from what I know, Team Timilas is definitely someone who's been a bit better than Revenant.
True, and that's the whole point about this entire team, because Team Tamilas, as you mentioned, overall right now, even in the standings itself, they're at the 4th spot. Now, yes, we do understand the fact that they're at a 190 point and it can be breezed in at any possible moment. But with the way how this team always plays and how all of the teams just below them are trying to play, Team Tamilas, this team also has been for one of the longest times been in the bounty team, right? So they know how to deal whenever a push comes up against them.
Yeah, I mean, Team Timilas right now are doing really hot in the overall standings, right? Nothing taken away. But at the same time, if you're going to be there in the top 4, there's going to be that extra bit of pressure on the back of your head. If you really know how to deal with it, then fine. But Team Timilas is one of those teams that's been kicked out of that top 4 time and time, and they once again do end up breaching in that top 4.
Yes.
Today's day is going to be a really crucial breaking point for some of the teams in the top 4. Maybe God's Reign can be kicked out. Maybe Reckoning Esports can be kicked out if they don't perform.
That's the whole point about it. Maybe they can be kicked out, and as you mentioned, there's Global Esports as well sitting at the 1st spot. Maybe their 1st spot could also be stolen away. I know you're laughing, but I'd still say the only reason why their 1st spot could be stolen away is because they're playing only one game today.
Listen, Global Esports, they're psychos. They know what they're doing, and they know they're really good at their art. And they always are the one to come out on top in those duels. And as long as that's working out, considering they know BGMS really provides you with that aggression, it really rewards you for that aggression. And that's why Global Esports, they're at the top of the overall leaderboards. But I'm really worried over here for God's Reen. The IGL was disappointed when he brought out that shit, and Venom had his name onto it. So I hope that's not going to be affecting their mental.
True. I mean, since we're talking about Venom himself, he's one of the players who's basically found quite a lot of success for God's Reen. I still don't know why he was being sad about it, because when I was looking at the players who had the most impact during the previous Impact Player Week, Ronnie was of course first, Hunters was also following up closely, but even Venom had a pretty decent amount of finishes. He had 14.
Yeah, but I guess Reckoning Esports, a team that is there in the top 2, they probably expect a bit more, right? They want that man to be there maybe on the first, but just to let you know, man, the players are playing on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra for that ultra smooth experience. So today, the Impact player, they're going to have a buttery smooth experience to get all those eliminations. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Share it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Red Bull gives you wings.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。ਆਪਣਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਕੁੜੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ।
Wow.
ਨਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਕੁੜੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਜਗਦੀ ਰਕਾਨ ਚੰਨ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ।
Circle to search. Only on Android.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now bow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Whoa, or should we say super wicked? The beastly headlights and the Black Panther iconic mask screams power. Feel like Super Warrior with TVS Raider Super Squad Black Panther Edition.
That power is definitely going to be replicated by not just this bike, but also with the one who rides on it. But honestly, that is the exact power that a lot of these teams need right now to try and put themselves in a position wherein they can attempt to breach in that top 4. You've got 3 bounty teams in this one schedule.
It's time to go full throttle. It's time to exceed limits. And if the players or the teams, they don't do so, well, there will be someone else catching up to them in this race. For teams like iQSoul, they still do stand a chance, but only if they deliver a magnificent, a nuclear performance. For God's Reign, a team that is there on the 3rd spot in the overall standings, their sword is hanging on top of their necks, and this time it's a double-edged sword.
As you mentioned, it's a double-edged sword indeed. But I also want to see how Team Tamilas are going to perform today. They're at that 4th spot, 190 points for themselves. Not a big amount of cushioning whatsoever. Still looking to breach into that top 4.
So here's my question. For some of the teams, the impact players are the IGLs themselves.
Yes.
Is it really going to force the teams to change their main core playstyle? Because it definitely will.
I think so. I really hope so as well, because as you mentioned, there's Somraj, there's also Pokar. There are so many players who are the IGLs and are also the impact players. So I want to see how it's going to impact, because you would really want to see those IGLs now taking those finishing blows, those final blows. But here's the thing. We'll be heading onto the map of Miramar, and there are potential drop clashes that I would love to see off the bat.
But this is also going to be quite a discomfortable change for Gravity Jod, a man who leads a pack of wolves who are so aggressive in the battlegrounds. But now, just because Gravity Jod, he's the man with the powers in his hands, maybe something needs to be changed to the playstyle. Something needs to be there. Gravity Jod, he needs to showcase that aggression, get those points in the hands, and help his team a bit more. And as you mentioned, for Somraj, Entity, their core playstyle is definitely going to change. Somraj being the IGL, he's not the one who likes to initiate the fights, but today he needs to be a part of so many fights and try and claim as many points as possible for his team. This is definitely going to push the IGLs to a state where they will feel uncomfortable, but sometimes stepping out to their comfort zone will be the best thing you can do as a human being. Let's move on to the first game of the day, the first game of Saturday. As the plane flat path starts all the way from Oasis towards down south Minas del Sur. The planned flat path is heavily tilted to the left side. If the teams want to move in towards El Hazar, Impala, Puerto Paraiso, it will be a tough stretch.
It is going to be a tough one indeed, but I'm looking forward for the drop clashes that might happen in Chumasera between Team Forever and OG. But there's another one that I wanted to look forward to, which normally would be between 8-Bit and Team Tamilas and Los Leones, where we've seen so many times Team Tamilas always try to get the advantage whenever they're up against the members of 8-Bit, but we're seeing quite a lot of those teams taking that early drop, specifically Reckoning jumping in over towards Torre Humada, Godlike as well, going just a bit down south towards Cruz del Valle. iQSoul not having a lot of problems spreading out around the Creator Fields area, as well as Ronnie is dropping out there. Now he is the impact player of the team and he is the most distant from the pack.
Interesting, something new. Maybe the boys are looking forward to pull off. iQSoul, they usually like to move in towards La Cobrera, so this is not something like they're stepping outside of the comfort zone. It's completely fine, but still in the past they have been targeted by Raven Esports. So that's something that the players would need to consider. And once again, the drop collision, it comes into fruition as God's Reign, they are pouncing on top of the players of Team X-Park here to claim a 3 points. One of the men gets knocked out, but not confirmed just yet. Team X-Park, the boys are holding the crossfire in a really good fashion, but unfortunately it's just Ninja who's got his hands on a weapon. While the rest of the players, they have been eliminated. It's just Shadow 7 with the machete in his hands, and I don't think he can pull off a lot. One single util dumped at the top of this terrace, and it might just wipe out the entire Team X-Park. The players are in quite a critical condition. Shadow 7 finally gets his hands on a weapon, but God's Reign with the man advantage. They also get the revival back on the fallen player. Now they're back in full force. X-Park going for some pre-fires around the corner, but they can't really catch the players of God's Reign like that. Nicely done. Fury crosses on over. Shadow 7 is way too low. Hands are busy. He gets caught. And within a moment, it's going to be Team X-Park wiped outside of the lobby.
Absolutely.
Just look at the weaker teams getting targeted like that.
This is such a big play coming in from the side of God's Reign. And at the same time, I mentioned about the 8-Bit and Team Tamilas collide. And they both collide at the pit stop. And it's going to be another shot being fired by Aditya. Last man standing will be taken down.
As I mentioned, just look at the weaker teams getting targeted. Team Tamilas 2 coming out on top in that duel with a flawless fight. Nicely done. What else do you want? 8 points to rip things off. That's the best possible outcome.
Even God's Reign are going to be happy because Venom was able to find 1 in that entire engagement. So they've got 10 points to begin things with. That is such a phenomenal performance, and not even losing a single member. It's like a dream come true for most of these teams. But interesting, this time, it's Orangutan who's just having fun in Minas Del Valle. You don't have Team Forever dropping down there. Normally, we would always see those early engagements whatsoever. But hold on a second.
Sarah. Interesting drop location over here, right? OG, I think he's lost out. A bit of a rough thing to recover from. Before OG, the perfect man is the impact player. That's AKOP. Couldn't have been better. That's what exactly they needed. AKOP has been in a rising form recently. Just keeps on getting better as the days keep on passing by. He's been quite consistent when it comes to the frag numbers on the board. Imagine if he gets another big performance, 9 eliminations when he's the impact player. Oh, that's like a dream come true for OG. That will be a leap straight to the top 2.
That's 18 points that you're already mentioning. Even more if you've got a few in the power play itself. And talking about power play, right? You know that there are so many players who are just super active in the power plays. And Ronnie's name always comes out on top whenever we think about it. A 26-point banger is something that no one can forget when he wiped out Vashishta Esports all alone. We've seen quite a few 1v4s in BGMS, man.
We indeed have. I mean, not enough, but yeah, I guess decent. Definitely some table turners and some not that worth. But one plate over here, a team that is desperate to get these type of fights underneath their belts. They need to do something as well. OG, unfortunately for them, I think he was the casualty off the start. That was quite a rough patch to recover for. But still, they can easily do so. In the disadvantage inside of this fight. Now the action's quite settled down, and it's sort of weird for me. Team Forever, all the 4 players up and alive. They're definitely looking forward to do something against OG here because they know the players are underneath them. But Team Forever, they know if they do end up giving this high ground away, then OG will instantly try and take that in their hands. I like the spread from Team Forever, making sure that the eyes are going to be pinned on all across the sides.
Almost every single time whenever this engagement has happened, Team Forever has come out on top. OG have always lost a few members.
Yeah, it's because of their drop location, man. They drop down. And the high ground advantage that the opponents have, they know exactly where OG's positioned. So that's already a down start that's just starting things off with. Team Z on the hilltop. Scout OP's the man with the powers in his hands. Can he be the table turner for Team Z? One big game for Scout OP can instantly change the fate for Team Z.
I mean, it needs to be as big as what Reckoning did last time. That's
8 finishes minimum.
Exactly. 8 finishes minimum. You need a proper chicken dinner. You need somewhere over 40 points.
Imagine if he does gain 8 finishes, though. That would be insane.
True.
I mean, instantly he propels his team in the first half of the board. And then out and over, Team Z as well. Welcome to the party. Raven Esports up against God's Reen.
Bit spread out.
Yeah, it's quite a weird fight, I'm not going to lie. For God's Reen, they're definitely outside of their comfort zone. The opponents are constantly pushing them outside of that. And Raven Esports not in the best possible spot. Hanzo is still pinned down behind that one single haystack. And I'm not sure how he's even alive.
Okay.
He's low.
Up on the roof. Shots being fired all the way from the back, if I'm not wrong, by Hulk, who's providing a good amount of cover. But how is Hanzo thinking to survive this one? Just one nade bouncing off of the haystack behind him will eventually do the trick. But Orangutan right now being caught by WSB, who were down in the vicinity. La Drillera, they dropped down south of that. And Aru should be taken down now. Wow. Style points, +5.
Rough luck.
True.
I mean, Aru getting caught out like that, away from the pack for WSB, that's a free point to be claimed. OG with now just a 2-man squad towards that city. Yeah, Team Forever is probably looking forward to make that pounce. A 2v4 seems easily executable. Raven Esports. Hanzo is still just there inside of that stack. AimGod, he's got his hands on 2 frag grenades, but he's still not tossing either one. I'm not sure why is this stalemate occurring in the first place. Both of them knows each other's position, but unfortunately for Godsreen, they're out of their utilities, so that's why they can't really toss any nades anymore.
For Godsreen, I think so. It's understandable.
1 Molotov recovered, and now Godsreen can toss that Molotov towards this haystack. It can be a table turner, but this is how the action kicked off in the entire lobby. It was Team X-Park up against the players of Godsreen. Godsreen, they dropped on top of the players of Team X-Park, knowing the fact that these will be a few free points that they can easily achieve. And then another weaker team got targeted, which was 8-Bit.
And Juicy's frustration is understandable. And as you mentioned about that Molotov, it was tossed in, yes, but Hanzo is still out there alive.
Something needs to be done. Someone needs to create some sort of a flank angle here.
Fury did.
Yeah, but eventually Godsreen was able to find that knockout. Does not even need to do anything. Hanzo just peeked out. Hanzo is not retrievable just yet, but AimGod can play a big spoiler in this fight, considering his position is still anonymous. Utilities being tossed, and eventually a return knockout comes into play. Nicely done by Reaper. All the way from the far fray, gets the knockout, and now going for the revive is going to be even more tougher. Raven Esports' AimGod finds another knockout, and AimGod is the impact player. He gets that finish in the power play itself. A big conversion, 4 points. And now AimGod looking to push up close and personal.
Lovely.
It's going to be Hulk to put that nail in the coffin.
Beautiful play by Raven, and they also claim the bounty on God's Reign.
Not just yet. There's still one more player.
Ah, yes. They still need to find one more. And where is that last player? Venom, he's already made a run for it. I guess he was the player who wanted to try and find a flank angle onto the members of Raven. And now, eventually, he's the only one who will try to escape. But as you mentioned, important frags being found by AimGod himself too.
I mean, that's a lot of points. Even though he just got one single elimination.
Yep.
That still gives him 4 points in the power play. A big move. Fine, nicely done. I mean, for Raven Esports, unfortunately being kicked outside of that top 4 was definitely something, was a major setback for the boys. But now to start things off, they already get 10 points. That's nicely done. Unfortunately, one man was compromised. With a 3-man squad, you've still achieved 10 points. That's nice. Now Raven Esports, if they want, they can play things a little bit passive and try and go for the finishing blow with the chicken dinner.
Yep. Considering their impact player is still up and going, I don't think so there's going to be any kind of problem. AimGod, the man out there. And this is a good thing for even God's Reign, because Venom is the man who's alive and he is technically the impact player, so he can still play for survival, still try to grab a few scrap points here and there over towards the end, because every single one is going to count as 2 points. So good for them. But on the other side of the spectrum though, not a lot of good things happening for the members of OG. The OGs are remaining now, AK as well as Wiz. It has been fairly quiet though, not a lot of fights in the power play. Because it just feels at this point, Necro, that teams, they decide to play slow as soon as the weekend begins. Only because they want to go for the third party so their impact player can actually pick up the scraps.
All of that is fine, but WSB now looking forward to challenge another fight. I mean, they did pick up 1 scrap point of OG, which was Aru, but now WSB looking to push up close and personal against Team Z. For Team Z, Scout OP is the man with the powers. And WSB, they know they're pretty much done for, so they're here to spoil the games, that's for sure. Team Z with everything to lose, backs against the wall. Dux is isolated. He's up close and personal against the players. He backs away instantly. You can see Team Z providing that cover too. Smokes are out for Dux to fade away. A beautiful nade being tossed. Almost could have caught Xerath. But Xerath is safe for now. And he's also looking to toss another nade towards that direction. Overcooked. Dux is safe for now. And WSP, if they're not able to find any sort of openers, it's worthless to make that push.
Seems like Daksh is just trying to bait the members of WSP into chasing him, so that his team, who technically did lay a trap out there, would eventually take him down. But I don't think so. Any of that is happening. Seems like there's a truce, and both the teams are deciding to back off. No engagements whatsoever.
I don't understand why the teams on the latter half of the board are playing so safe. Like,
no idea.
For real, man. You guys don't have a lot of chances to make it in the top 4. I mean, final 2 days left with the Impact player power as well. You should go instantly aggressive as soon as the game starts. You've got nothing to lose anyways, right? So you might as well do so.
It just seems like most of these teams are now playing it slow to build the momentum for the playoffs, but Scout fires a few shots. QBZ a bit difficult on that range. Tried to go in for that. I think so he would have found a knock had he used the M4 Mini 14.
Maybe.
Yeah. With an 8x.
I mean, QBZ is not that bad of a weapon. It is still quite nice. Scout OP. Rough luck. Well, that's the QBZ for you. KSR7 this time. He's able to spray him down nicely.
True.
Gets the knockout too, but unfortunately the conversion's not going to be there. That will be a problem, but look at the vehicles. They're damaged so much for Team Z, and this sucks. What can they even do?
I was still surprised there was no one providing the cover to Scout from that angle, or we could also say, I mean, Scout moving out in the open, considering he already saw one player from one blade, was a bit too bold. But yeah, super passive play coming in from both One Blade and Team Z. And let's be honest, if this continues, then neither of these teams will eventually make it into the top 4. I guess, again, it comes down to the same thing, that they just really want to play for the momentum for the playoffs.
But I would still say they should play fearlessly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like your Philips One Blade. Move that way. But yeah, One Blade themselves not moving fearlessly, not representing the name properly. Definitely some sort of a hesitation against Team Z there. But makes a lot of sense, right? You also got to move up in a strategic manner considering the power play is already done. So yeah, I mean, there's not something like that's going to provide you some extra bit of points. But Team Tumulus, they found themselves quite a nice suit. They already achieved 8 points, and now they're looking really comfy. Unfortunately, Manti did not get any finish in that entire squad wipe, so that blows for Team Tumulus. But still, they can look forward for a better performance considering they've got all the 4 players up and alive.
True. Vashishta Esports right now close to them. And Vixky is the man who is the impact player for this team. He's found a decent bit of success, I would say. Not a lot, but at least a bit. If I'm not wrong, last when I checked, he had 21 finishes in his name overall. So yeah, not that insane, but not that bad either. A bit of consistency. But
in my opinion, Vixky is quite a solid player. I mean, it's not like BGMS is like my first tournament that I'm casting, right?
True.
I've seen Vixky perform in the past, and he's sort of been the main playmaker for this lineup. Vixky has been really good. Yeah, inside of this one single tournament, Vixky has not been able to perform, but still, we know what the man's capable of.
We'll have to check, as you mentioned. We'll have to wait for him to perform. But on the other side of the spectrum, another player that has been on point right now. Manya knocking out a member of Team Forever. They're trying to knock onto their doors, and Solar this time again playing with Some. That means Joker is not in the lineup.
Oh, but look at Team Forever. They've lost out on Omega. Rough luck. IQ Soul. That's the opener they exactly needed. Some is still there. I'm not sure why Joker is benched. But maybe IQ Soul just trying something new over here, considering slowly and steadily they're definitely getting some sort of success with this lineup. Even Ikusol at this point, they know they're going to move towards the playoffs, but it's probably going to be the rise from the ashes for this team. That's for sure. In my opinion, I see this team easily in the grand finals. I don't see them struggling at all to do. But Ikusol just driving around, trying to flush out the players of the opponents. Carpedium pushing up close and personal against Vasista Esports. This will be an interesting fight. It's shotgun versus shotgun. And for the player right there in the front, he doesn't exactly know what to do. Wixkey jumps out. Questionable decisions coming through for them. But Vasista Esports' secret should have went for that reposition, considering his position was already noticed. He still stayed in that same place. And he got taken down. Gives the advantage to the opponent, instantly capitalizes as well. As now Carpedium, they're the one to swing back to life. They've got the man advantage inside of the fight too, but look at Wixkey, position still unnoticed. Jumps down, gets his hands on the vehicle, and is now looking to back away from this entire spot. And he will do so as well with these, considering there was a smoke trail laid out for him. But unfortunately, even he gets caught from the top. The cover fire isn't so good for Vasista.
They were able to knock down Pukar out there, but it was Fierce, the man himself, who was able to get that confirmation too. So, Vasista Esports losing 2 of their members. Now it's down to Apollo and Shadow. Questionable decisions coming in from their side, as you mentioned, because they had the Molotov in the hand. I still don't know why Wixkey did not decide to use it on the stairs.
But honestly, I'm impressed by Carpedium's bravery.
True.
No one dares to push a team like that through the staircase when you know you will be tunnel visioned on that one single staircase. But still, they made that push happen. Flushed out the opponents without any sort of casualty. But I would also say it was just Vasista Esports making those rookie mistakes.
Yep.
Which they're not supposed to. That was supposed to be an easy fight, an easy push to be stopped. But they messed up hard. Wixkey and Secret down and dusted. Now it's just down to Shadow and Apollo. And these 2 players, I'm not sure what else they can pull off. I mean, they still do stand a chance to be in that top 4, but I still think it's a little bit too late. Vasista Esports, they've lost their form.
I would agree with you on that one. And if this continues, then I think so they're going to lose onto the opportunity to breach into that top 4. Vasista Esports, with the way how they started things, it's just been quite opposite. And Team Tamilas is also in the vicinity. There's also one more team who are up close to them, if I'm not wrong. That's also one blade. So just one break, and we will see a lot of these teams trying to jump in for the third party to probably flush out a few finishes into the hands of their impact player.
A potential for an urban circle, and that's just really fun. If it is going to be an urban circle, but so far that's what it looks like, then in the final few moments it's just going to be chaos all across the board. Unfortunately, Global Esports isn't here because they thrive in this type of chaos. But yeah, for Godlike, this might just be a new beginning if they do secure a chicken dinner with a decent amount of points, considering Jonathan himself is the impact player, and recently he's been at the top of his performance. Team Tamala slowly and steadily, even they're running thin on their patience. They're revealing their strategy, they're revealing their position. They already have a decent amount of points to kick things off with, and that's what Team Tamilas realized. They do not need to be over-aggressive anymore, but unfortunately, the zone moves away from the boys. And now it's time to step outside of your comfort zone and try and be a little bit more dominant.
Now you need to have the control over towards this western part on all those hills. And considering the number of teams that are remaining alive right now, I think so this one circle is going to delete a few teams out there, maybe a couple of them. But we still would have at least 10 to 12 teams remaining.
I'm not going to lie, I genuinely thought today we might just see a lot of those YOLO moments.
But, I mean, here's the thing. You mentioned about Global Esports thriving in this. If Global Esports were here, we would not have had these many teams remaining.
I mean, maybe Global Esports would have wiped out 2 or 3. But in my opinion, that's still a lot of teams still surviving. So, teams are playing it way too tactical. I don't understand the main thinking behind that, considering the weekend really allows you to play aggressive. It really rewards you to play aggressive, but still teams are playing it passive. I'm not sure what the main thinking behind that's going to be, but Godlike, in my opinion, they're probably going to get caught off guard with this rotation. And that's what's exactly happening. Z-God gets caught! This is what happens when you do not know where you're moving. And Godlike with an unplanned rotation. They get caught.
And it's Scout as well, getting the confirmation. Wait a second. What was Venom doing? Venom jumped out of a moving vehicle. Now he's down on his knees.
I mean,
and he's been taken down. Wait, what?
He still secured 12 points. I mean, his team secured 12 points. In my opinion, that's still a decent amount of points to get kicked out with. But look at Godlike. All the patience for what? To get caught by Team Forever and Team Z? Not worth it at all. Absolutely not worth it. They pulled off such a long rotation just to get caught like this. It's not going to work out that well. But Admino with a beautiful nade returns back to favor as even Ash gets knocked out. And Punk is the one to get another one down for Team Forever. Ninju gets confirmed. Godlike down to a 3-man squad. At least Jonathan is still alive, so there's a decent bit of chance for Godlike to pull off a miraculous game here.
True. Z-God has been a pillar for the side of Godlike though, in quite a few situations, specifically when we talk about those clutches. But as you mentioned, questionable rotation coming in from them, having no information about the area whatsoever. And as we were talking about it, we've lost a couple of teams already. 25 more seconds for the blue to catch up to that white line.
Okay, nicely done, Admino. Catches a man slip by. Lacking, and OG, they lose out on this shot instantly. At least they're cleaning up the zone in the outskirts, so I like that. The blue zone is slowly and steadily being cleared out by the players of Godlike.
Oh my
And now OG's
God.
last man, which is AKOP, slowly and steadily moving into the safer lines. But look at the zone. It shifts right on top of the players of CG, outside of the urban area. And now every single team in the cities will be forced to move outside of their comfort zone, out in the open. And this is where the chaos is going to break loose.
Reckoning, Aiku Soul, and Carnival Gaming have got the best opportunity to capitalize onto the position they are holding. But I feel they can also try and go in for a few scrap points with all the teams who will be fighting against each other. As you mentioned about that AKOP has also been found, finished, and secured. WSB going up against the members of Team Z. Saeed finding a return knock.
The only way Godlike can actually make it inside of the zone is by wiping out Aiku's soul. Now that's going to be an iconic fight. One blade, even they're under heavy fire. Another team gets eliminated from this entire game. That's quite a rough patch for that team to recover from. Raven Esports taken out. Another formidable opponent, not in the game anymore. But Reckoning and Team Tamala's bounty is still up for grabs. These two teams can be a big table turner, either for themselves or for the opponent.
True.
Team Z with a 3-man squad. Looking pretty nice. Closer to the enemies. One man is spread out a little bit. The best part is, at least they've got all the 4 players up and alive. Scout OP was taken down a while ago, but he's managed to acquire 3 finishes. So that's 6 points in total. Team Z right now, they've got 7 points. That's nice. Now Team Z, they at least need a chicken dinner to live up to it. One blade with all the 4 players up and alive. Team Z now are the main attraction.
On the other side, though, I wanted to see what's happening between Carpadium as well as Reckoning. Gravity confirms another player. Dinosaur is already down on his knees.
Oh my
Jumps up,
God!
And it's Pukar falling down on his knees now.
Reckoning Esports slowly and steadily clenching their fists inside of this fight, as they are probably the one to come out on top. But then no says fears from Carpadium as he wipes out the entirety of Reckoning Esports. And that's also going to be the bounty claimed by Carpadium.
Amazing performance, but right now, Maxi from Team Tamilas wants to join into the action, but has already lost a couple of players from his team, so he has to stop. He's been fired upon from multiple directions, and you were mentioning about Team Z. That's going to be Team Tamilas taken down entirely. We'll have to check if it's Aiku's Soul catching that bounty as well.
I'm pretty sure Team Tamilas, they were being ripped apart from all the different directions.
Yep.
So yeah, the eliminations are equally distributed all across the board. Even Godlike was taking shots against them. But Aiku's Soul now, a bit of a problem for them erupting as Ronnie gets knocked out. One blade, they have stepped inside of the fray too, but this nade from Knuckle can be the table turner. It tosses on quite close, but not close enough to find any sort of knockouts. Nothing critical happening just yet. Knuckle tosses another nade, and that's going to be way too off the mark. It's time to back out and reunite with the teammates, and that's what Knuckle is doing. Even Vasista Esports takes an exit from the game eventually. They did not have a lot of points to close things off. But for CG, they're right next to the players of IQ Soul in a really good spot. And they're also controlling the entire tempo of this last zone.
But the only problem about that entire position is, in fact, that all the fights are taking place on the other side of this hill. So they can't be a part of it whatsoever. And they've got absolutely 0 points till now. So unless you flush out the last few finishes in the hands of Hector, I don't see Carnival getting any value out of this chicken dinner, even if they get it.
I think so. He's just trying to do the same thing that Revenue Esports is doing here, man.
They're far behind.
On the last day, they were probably going to try to ace it. Yes, they're far behind, but if they do get this chicken dinner, it's still consistently, slowly and steadily moving up with a snail pace approach. If they do find themselves in the top 8 at the end of the day, that's still good in my opinion. Godlike though, Punk is knocked out. That's quite rough. Getting the revival back is going to be easy. It's not that difficult, but for Godlike, they've already secured a decent amount of finishes underneath their belt. They're looking quite decent. Jonathan is still up and alive, the impact player himself. And now Godlike, traveling on their feet, they're taking too much damage upon themselves.
Ronnie.
Even the backs are against the wall as the wall of death closes on up. Punk is taking too much damage upon himself. Ronnie could have been knocked out in return. Godlike now being held back. And IQ Soul, exactly this is what they wanted. Ronnie's still up and alive. He's claiming a few points here and there. IQ Soul with 8 finishes on the board so far. Jonathan gets a chance to move inside of the zone, but unfortunately he will be claimed as well.
9 points for the side of Godlike. Fairly decent, you could say. But enough, is it enough to bring them into the breaching point for top 4? Absolutely not. Fierce out here doing so much for his team right now. Finally, this man has awoken. And it seems like what a time to do that. Some jumps down his power, tries to take a few shots. Man is also close by to Neo.
Oh no, is that a nade? I'm not sure. And Goblin is taking a lot of damage. He gets knocked out and finished. IQ Soul, hold on, they still do stand a solid chance to convert this fight in their favor. Another fallen man gets back up on his feet. Ronnie and Knuckle up and alive, the two of the main fragging players for IQ Soul, still in the race as the man traverses through the open grounds. Knuckle gets caught, and CG, now this is the advantageous spot CG cannot lose from. A 3-man squad alive against a 2-man squad of Carpadium and 1 man of IQ Soul.
I still have this one small question. Why is Hector all the way behind every other teammate? He's the impact player. You would have wanted to you would have wanted him to be in these situations to try and get those finishes.
I guess he's the man to be in the back lines and secure the eliminations, the finishing blow, right?
No, he's
Collect
not
the knocked
doing
out
that.
players.
He's not doing that. Every single finish has been collected by the players who were up front.
Yeah, because the approach for the opponents have been that way. But yeah, I do understand what you're trying to say here. But CG, I don't think so they're letting this rule phase them away from their main gameplay. Their main play style is this way, and they're going to stick to that way. Carpadium now with the last 2 remaining players. I'm not sure what their gameplay is going to be, but Fierce gets caught out in the open. Does not have a lot of room for error anyways. And now Picard's going to be the last remaining player. Even he gets spotted, and he will be taken down. CG, they claimed the chicken dinner in the first game, but still, this game was spread out quite well for a lot of these teams. Some of the teams, they managed to take the advantage of the impact system and also the power play, while some, they relied on chicken dinner, just like CG.
I believe it's Carpadium who basically had a banger of a game. You could also say IQ Soul and Godlike with some good amount of points. But yes, the chicken dinner goes in favor of Carnival Gaming.
What a game that was indeed for IQ Soul and Godlike. Something that they can remember.
Bro, congratulations. आपको chicken dinner मिला है and considering कि हम लोग literally last 2 दिनों पे हैं before we get into the playoffs, how important was that one?
कुछ नहीं, हमें अलाइव ज़्यादा दिखे तो हमने वही कि एंड जोन खेलते अच्छा कंपटीशन होगा, बट वही है 4 ही किल ले पाए, ज़्यादा किल नहीं ले पाए.
सब लोग देख रहे हैं अंदर कि चिकन डिनर निकालने के बावजूद गॉब्लिन जो थोड़ा सा नाखुश था. रीजन फॉर दैट?
हमें किल्स चाहिए था, अच्छे खासे था कि प्लान हर जगह किल निकालेंगे, बट निकाल नहीं पाए, वही तो बात है.
फिनिशेस ब्रो, फिनिशेस, बेटर वर्ड. आगे का प्लान क्या है?
कुछ नहीं, ऐसे ही खेलना है कंटिन्यू. अच्छा मैच जाना है एक और. हम डॉग फाइट एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे, बट हुआ नहीं हमारा.
मतलब फिनिशेस उतने नहीं थे, ठीक है, लेकिन जो पोजीशन थी उसका पूरा फायदा उठाया. इज दैट व्हाई यू आर अ लिटिल अपसेट?
नहीं, पोजीशन का तो ठीक था क्योंकि स्टार्टिंग में बहुत ज़्यादा बंदे लाइव थे, तो हमने सोचा कि चिकन के लिए खेलते, बट लास्ट में थोड़ा मिसकम्युनिकेशन भी हुआ और मतलब ठीक है किल्स भी कम मिले तो थोड़ा, बट ठीक है।
क्या मिले?
फिनिशेस कम मिले।
Alright, time for a break. We'll be back.
जख्मी शेर को छेड़ते नहीं, उसने शिकार करना छोड़ा है, भूला नहीं। लेट द कार्निवल बिगिन।
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Red Bull gives you wings.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like roar in my beastly mode. Now bow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Celebrate every... Welcome back once again from that short commercial break. And yes, the Circle played a big mind game with these teams. At the first, everyone thought that it's probably going to be an urban finish, but then it just moves out in the open and forces all the teams in the urban city to move out in the open, and that's where it was hell break and lose. But you know what? Speaking about some of the best stuff, and that's going to be Crunchyroll, the largest India's anime library with over 800 plus shows, and you can watch those shows in your preferred languages. And all of that just for 79 rupees per person.
I mean, I really thought looking at that circle that it's gonna be something like what we see Jujutsu Kaisen in the Shibuya arc, but it's absolutely fine though. It was still fun to watch all of that out, but let's have a look at the MVP of the game, and it's gonna be none other than the man himself, Fierce. 6 finishes, 67% contribution.
I mean, Carpedium indeed popping off, right? Fierce with 67% finished contribution, securing the major chunk for his team. And Carpedium, they desperately do need these points too, right? Knowing the fact that they're not in the top 4 anymore, Carpedium, they're definitely a survival team. And slowly and steadily, they are definitely living up to the mark, surviving. But at the end of the day, what matters is if you're there in the top 4. As you move on towards the Garnier Men Impact Players of the Day, it's going to be Scout OP with 3 finishes, Gravity Shot with 2, and Jonathan with 2. Now, Scout OP has got the most amount of finishes as an Impact player in the previous game.
That is true. They're basically giving 6 points to the side of Team Z as well, and this is exactly what we were discussing too. His players were scouting out all the other players for him, and then he was the one who was making sure that he's getting all of those finishes.
And one bounty was also claimed in that previous game, so keep that thing in mind too. So the match rankings are indeed going to be super nice. But hey, speaking of super nice stuff, I'm not going to lie, that t-shirt that you're wearing, it's catching my eye.
I know, right? This is from the exclusive fashion partner of BGMS Season 3, Instinct First. And you know what? If you all want to really buy it, there's a fun offer going right on your screen right now. So do not miss that out and grab this exciting merch from Instinct First. Now, since that's been done, I know you also want one. I'll send you the link as well. Okay. But coming back to the same point that you mentioned about the bounty being claimed, if I'm not wrong, it was the bounty of Reckoning Esports that was claimed.
Reckoning Esports, they were strike down hard. Unfortunately, they were not able to recover from that blow too. But of course, Gravity John was trying his best, right? Had his hands on the shotgun. He was trying to return back the blows too. He did get one secure, but that's all he got in that fight. But in the end, he ended up returning the points to the opponents. And that's something, as a bounty team, you have a big marker on top of your head. 10 additional points given to that rival team, and now that team will have a high chance to move up to the top 4. And looking at this fight between Raven Esports and their opponents, I generally thought that Raven Esports was in a big disadvantage, but they still returned back the favor.
True, it was up against the members of God's Reign, if I'm not wrong, themselves. So Raven eventually catching 3 of their players, and then it was Venom who basically ran away in the vehicle, denying those bounty points, which we were discussing how crucial it is, because you do not want your opponents to move up into that leaderboard. But it was fairly slow entire game for the earlier parts, but after that it picked up the pace as soon as we saw the zone shifting in over towards the hillside.
Yeah, I mean, Carpedium, imagine, they claimed the bounty. They were also there with a decent amount of finish points and in the top 2 as well. So they've got 6 placements. They've got 10 additional points for the bounty and a few points in the power play system too, and a few more points when it comes to that impact player. So Carpedium, they indeed rolled in that previous game, and I think so with that performance, they're probably there in the top 4 now.
I mean, you're already making those predictions. Might as well have a look at it itself, because I also think Carpedium should be the ones who should be on the top with 20 plus points at the bare minimum. Because if I'm not wrong, Pucar also had 1 finish in his name, so that's already 2 points. It's 27
there we go.
for this team.
Carpedium with a banger performance, but Ikusol not that far behind with 16 points. They're right there on the 2nd spot. CG, yes, they did claim the chicken dinner, but unfortunately did not have a lot of elimination points. That's why they're there on the 3rd. In general, you can say the points were quite equally distributed in the lobby. Yeah, the latter half of the board wasn't really able to get a lot of points, but that's quite unfortunate for them. But speaking about the fortunate stuff, and that's going to be the tap and pay feature on your Android device. Imagine how many efforts that's going to save for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But you might as well want to have an accountant so that he can keep in check of the amount that you're spending out there. I definitely need one. But yes, as we've been talking about that, now since we've had Group D playing in, we will not have them for the next map of Sanhok. It's going to be Revenant, Global Esports, Entity, and Mogo taking the entry onto this one.
Ooh, Mogo Esports, the defending champions, and right now definitely feels like they're not going to be there in the top 4, directly moving to the grand finals. Mogo, they're probably going to take the longer route if they keep on playing the same way that they have been playing so far. But Global Esports stepping in the action, and Beast is the one with the powers in his hands. It just gets me even more excited. He's probably going to move fearlessly, just like our Philips One Blade. Let's move to a short break. We'll be back in a bit.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw. In my beastly mode now. Wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider, unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like
Last game of the day will be beginning in few moments, but just have a look at that beautiful trophy. Within a few days, that trophy will be hoisted by someone. But before we move into the last game of the day, Google Play Days are live now. Grab the best BGMI offers. Do not miss out on them.
I just always get busy whenever you talk about the Google Play Days, man, because I try to grab those offers as quickly as possible, because you know what? Why to miss on the chances when God presents them to you? And that's exactly what is happening to these teams, specifically on the weekend with the Impact Player rule. All these teams in that Group E, Revenant, Global Esports, Entity and Mogo, will be looking forward to claim some good amount of points on this map of Sanhok, which we normally see teams play very aggressive.
While teams like WSB and 8-Bit may be looking forward to spoil some games and dreams. Revenant Esports, the team that is so close to breaching inside of that top 4. Slowly and steadily, the top 4 is once again starting to raise that bar. Sensei needs to pull off another big performance. While Global Esports, they're there on the first spot in the overall standings, and no one seems to be getting even close to touching that, because in this game, Global Esports is probably going to get out with a bang. Moving towards Entity, it's one of those teams that has been facing quite a bit of that inconsistency, but all it takes is one single game to bring you back to life. While Mogo Esports, the defending champions, still do stand a teeny tiny bit of a chance to move into the top 4, but this game has to be a banger.
Absolutely. Ash with a few seconds of a staring contest with the camera. The previous game was not that good for their team, but this one they've got to make it count, because after this they'll only have 2 more games remaining, and this map of Sanhok is the best place where you can try and play aggressively. And since we're talking about aggressively, I know that you also mentioned that Carnival will potentially play aggressive in this map, but I'm still going to stick on my point that they are going to stick to their same default style, probably dropping somewhere around ruins in a spread out manner, and then play it slow.
If CG do not play aggressive, I'm not sure what the main game plan is at this point.
Yes.
Because if CG don't play aggressive, then one thing is clear, that they want to go through the longer route, and that's going to be through the playoffs. But if they do not want to play the playoffs, then Grand Finals, reaching directly over there, has to be the main goal. And the only way you can do so is by placing yourself right here, right now in the top 4. And if CG failed to do so, well, then that's quite unfortunate. You will need to go through the playoffs. And trust me when I say this, playoffs are going to be super try-hard. Everyone will be trying too hard to try and get something done. While you speak about trying hard, even Godlike is there, right there on the screen. And for Godlike, at this point in time, they're there in the mid-pack, but slowly and steadily as they keep on claiming these points, they can be back in the race.
Godlike is probably one of the most consistent teams if we look at the record of the past 3 days. They have been making a good amount of consistent points, not a humongous leap, but those constant points is definitely bringing them closer to try and compete for that top 4 spot. How easy it's gonna be or how difficult is it gonna be is a big question, but we'll have a lot of time to answer that because the map of Sanhok is the one that actually moves pretty quickly, and I am looking at Bootcamp or Paradise Resort. Necro, choose one. Bootcamp or Paradise? Where are we gonna see the drop clash action?
I mean, if it's the same Sanhok that we witnessed previously, then probably it's going to be Paradise Resort, which looks like a Hell Resort. Bootcamp as well. There will be a drop collision, don't get me wrong. There will be 2 teams colliding against each other, and that will be quite fun to witness too. But even Camp Alpha, I want to see Global Esports drop on top of the players of IQ Soul and fight for that drop location. That will be super fun too.
Absolutely. The exact point that I was about to mention right now. Global Esports, IQ Soul, dropping to Camp Alpha, duke it out, take that fight. Beast is already looking very confident. Even in the interview yesterday, he mentioned that if in case you want to claim the bounty on us, drop to our location. We don't mind. We are ready to welcome you with open fire.
Open fire, open arms, and those arms will be deadly. You need to watch out. IQ Soul, a team that's been struggling to find that form. Slowly and steadily, they're moving with a snail pace approach in the overall standings. But that snail pace approach isn't going to be enough anymore. And that's something that Destro needs to understand too. As an IGL, he's also the impact player. And for Mogo Esports, are they going to change the main core playstyle? That is to play defensive. If they do, then I'm going to be super happy. If they don't, well then welcome to the playoffs.
And playoffs, yes indeed, it's the longer route that we are always talking about, but there's a big irony in there as you do not have a lot of days in the playoffs itself. You've got less number of matches, and we already saw when we had the opening week itself how difficult it was for so many teams to try and adjust, to adapt, and to do whatever they really needed to do. Right now, most of them, yes, they found their footing, but even after that, there have been those kinds of approaches where you want to see teams go a bit more aggressive, but they still take their time.
The wait is now on the end as the next game starts on the screen, as it boots up with the plane hitting the skies, starting all the way from Camp Bravo towards Hathin. This plane flat path is heavily tilted to the northern side. Now dropping extremely down south will be a tough stretch, but still it's the map of Sanhok. But I want to see that aggressive start off the rip.
Oh, you've already mentioned about that, and we are seeing quite a few teams taking that early drop. Mogo moving in towards Paradise Resort. We normally see this team take that drop location there. Bootcamp as well is probably going to be a point of contest where most of these teams are probably going to take that fight. But alright, we've got GE, we've got IQ Soul dropping towards and slowly moving in at Camp Alpha. I guess the wait is over finally, Necro.
Oh.
We were waiting to see these teams collide, and that's where we are seeing.
We are going to see that temple fight once again. The fight to stop the opponent and get the prime spot in your hands instantly. Global Esports and IQ Soul, this fight was indeed missed, but now we're going to see that fight repeat once again. And it's been a while, and off the rip, you start things off with a slice and dice. It will be Beast to come out on top in that duel, slices the opponent and dices him to death as Beast gets another knockout, and Beast is getting chased down by the opponent. Another slice coming through. Global Esports isn't looking too fluid in this fight, but how is Beast even alive? That's my question.
Oh.
Does he get the slice? And no is going to be the answer. Beast gets strike down, but IQ Soul, Manya gets his hand on the shotgun. All it takes is one single blow to the opponent, and he will instantly claim the fight, and that's what happens. But Manya almost could have been taken down in return too. IQ Soul, they win this drop collision after a long time.
1 HP clutch is this. What a way to play Manya, but the fight is not yet over because on the other side, it's Raven now getting hunted down. They took Dinosaurs, but taking down that one player has basically brought the wrath of Reckoning onto them. Reckoning already taking 2 players from none other than Raven itself. Now that's a big thing. Early points being offered to them, and Hunters and Gravity Jordan are the players who basically got those openings. So 4 additional points That brings you to a total of 6.
But keep that thing in mind, with Global Esports wiped out, that's going to be the bounty being claimed.
Yes.
And Beast, yesterday he was looking pretty confident in his interview.
True.
Today, that confidence has been broken by Aiku's soul.
Absolutely. If you want to claim the bounty, drop to our location. Aiku's soul said gladly. It was full-fledged machete fight. And it was Aiku's soul who basically won out. Viper firing a few shots. I mean, this Victor, we've seen so many times this man, and a lot of players use that Victor, and they've done such a humongous job with that.
Team Forever up against WSB. It's been happening for a while, and it happens once again. Shikari John was lost out in this fight. For WSB, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. Once again, the history repeating itself, as they're the one with the disadvantage before Team Forever. If they do end up wiping out the entirety of Team Forever, the entirety of WSB, then that's going to give them such a big advantage.
True.
And that's what exactly Team Forever needs at this point in time. WSB is trying to keep themselves pinned down in this entire building, trying to play it as passive as possible. But
whoa.
Let's see how it ends. Mogo Esports, they're taking a fight against Reckoning Esports. And keep this thing in mind, for Mogo Esports, this is a fight that they need to win. Because Reckoning, they've got a bounty on top of their head. And if Mogo Esports, they end up claiming that bounty, it will be a big leap in the overall board.
I don't think so. The bounty on Reckoning is claimable again, because their initial fight with Draven was where they lost the first player, Dinosaurs.
Ooh,
that's
now
unfortunate.
That blows. Because Mogo Esports, this could have been the lifeline that they're looking to latch upon. But Team Forever and WSB, the fight escalates as Xerath gets knocked out once again, but Armand's able to return back to favor. Nature's been knocked out in return, and it will be Team Forever to close things off, considering they've got the man advantage. Nicely done. Team Forever, they claim a lot of points, and all the 4 players will be back upon their feet.
Absolutely. And Ash also gets a pick into all of that action, so that's basically additional 2 more points into their own
Oh
arsenal.
my god, look at this CG.
Yeah.
They wanted a third part of this fight. They wanted to shut down Aiku's soul.
But they've
keep
lost.
this thing in mind. Aiku's soul, they've got 14 points. Add 10 more. How much is that?
24 points.
Wow.
24 for them. Beautiful. That's what they needed. But again, as I mentioned, if you take a fight against the members of Reckoning Esports, then be ready to be fired upon as well, because this team already has got 4 finishes in their pocket. 12 points in total already claimed. Raven were hurt, their wings cut down, and now it's Mogo's turn to try and pounce.
Yeah, and one man's already knocked out for Mogo, right? They're going through a rough patch over here, man. Mogo Esports looking to revive the fallen player as Hunter's running thin on patience. His position's noticed. Delta PG spots out the man. And Gravity Jawed now is looking to take things in his own hands.
Cool.
Slowly and steadily, the players of Mogo Esports, even they're gaining confidence in this fight as Hunter tosses a beautiful nade. But unfortunately, no connection just yet. Even a little bit of damage could have knocked out Justin. But still, that nade, yeah, was just not in their luck.
Oh, wait a second. 8-bit?
Yeah, once again, the weaker team's getting targeted. That's what's been happening.
They found the opener against Vasista Esports. They were up in a 4v3.
Yeah, but keep this thing in mind. Vasista Esports is one of those teams that has been doing miles better when it comes to 8-bit.
True.
So right now, Vasista Esports, they just have a better mental, better mechanics. Call it whatever you want, but they're just better than Team 8-bit.
I mean, I know that I should not say this, but I'm going to say it. Teams have just been claiming their early 8 points onto WSB and 8-bit.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned this a while back too, right? Even Team Tamalas was treating 8-bit like the free points in the map. They were hunting down 8-bit over and over again. It's a tough pill to swallow. I know 8-bit fans would not like to hear this, but it is what it is, guys.
And this team was so very good back in the opening week.
Absolutely. I mean, 8-bit was doing really good in the official tournament too. Nothing taken away from that, man. 8-bit really surprised every single one of us. But now in BGMS Season 3, for some reason, we're not seeing the same 8-bit back in the fray. One blade, they're taking a bit of damage upon themselves with the utilities being tossed upon themselves. But the opponents, they're slowly and steadily backing away. I'm not sure why.
It's Entity after all. They're dropped down to the 14th spot. back when they used to contest for the first and second place. Now that is very surprising. And again, I guess we both are right on the fact where we talked about Carnival Gaming itself, that this team, you said it's going to play aggressive, I said it's not going to play aggressive. They did went in to try and third party, they lost a member, and then they're back down to safety.
What do you mean both are right?
We both are correct onto that.
Absolutely not. I'm
Absolutely.
right.
No, of course
no,
not.
CG, they went aggressive.
And now they're going back safe again.
It does not matter. They still went aggressive. I mean, have you seen CG do that in the past couple of days? Absolutely not. They've been playing for the end game.
We have.
When?
When they changed their drop locations and they were hunting for the fights.
I said past 2 days.
They
did that. They did that at the start of the week.
Was that the start of the week?
Yes.
Oh my god, time flies.
Exactly. Remember Domination Week started, we saw a big change in CG, the interview happened. Come on, man.
Try.
Listen, all right, you can't take my credit away from me.
All right, you win this time. But another team that is actually winning is definitely going to be reckoning. They've already overtook Global Esports, but long-range shots being fired from Apollo.
Yeah.
Confirms a finish onto Manya as well.
This is not good for IQ Seoul.
That's the fourth team there.
I mean, for IQ Seoul, they've gotten, what, 24 points? And it's still counting in the future? So they are not supposed to lose out on players like this, man. They've got a 3-man squad up and alive. The points are still counting. You're trying to squeeze as many points as possible. The power play is over, fine, but you can still go for the finishing blow. You can go for that chicken dinner, secure additional 10 points. That's even better. Even if you don't secure the 10 points, at least try and be there in the top 3. 5 or 6 points can be secured. That's really important. And a few scrap eliminations here and there, that's going to be the additional bonus, if you'd like to call. But Sister Esports, though, after wiping out the opponents at the start, that's a really big confidence booster that they needed. 8-Bit now outside of the game, but with Sister Esports, they gained 13 points with this.
Moving up over towards 189, but this fight is going to be crucial. Pukar up against his former teammates. Raiden trying to jump in as well. This man has not yet found a lot of success, but still wants to jump in. Will finally find the opening, catching Pukar with utility in hand.
Carpadium, they cannot lose out on this fight against Entity. They possess a bounty on top of their head. Molotov tossed on top. Raiden, he will be knocked out. Nicely done by Gamla Boy. He flushes out the player. Carpadium, they've been eliminated from the game. But have Entity claimed the bounty? That's my question. There are smiles on top of the players of Entity faces. And I guess, yes, they have claimed the bounty, as you mentioned.
I just have to get a confirmation over the fact if in case Max was finished off by the members of Entity or not. Because I remember him bleeding out. But was the knock by Entity? That's the only question that I have in mind. But I think so that yes, they did. Because again, looking at their smiles is what also convinced me. So I think so they should have claimed this bounty already.
Yeah, but for Entity, it's still a Herculean task ahead of him.
Yeah, true.
It's really rough.
1 man remaining only.
Scout OP using a 3x on AKM with a suppressor onto it? What am I watching? It will be tough to spray it down. I mean, he's an experienced player, so let's just hope that he's able to connect the shots because he's also the impact player. But hold on to that thought. Entity, they're a lawnmower as they mow down another team that stood against them.
It's 1 blade from one side and then the last man remaining for Entity. Who was that? Somraj, I guess? That was nasty. And this man catches a few more finishes. That means that's additional 2 points for him, as he's the impact player of his team.
Yeah, for Entity, they've already secured so many points in this game that it's more than enough even if they do take an exit from this. And Somraj is still up and alive and cooking. And he's probably going to try to play the placement games now, but he will be denied. No, Anonymous runs out of bullets. In the nick of time, Somraj will be provided another lifeline. He moves back behind that tree, wanting to get the revival. But instead, he finds another knockout on the opponent. And now it's going to go for that patch. And with this, he also revives his mental back in the game that he can secure a few more points for his team before getting taken out.
And it's 1 blade on the other side, a team that has not yet had a good amount of confidence itself. So Kana and Sarkar will be going in for a big wraparound, trying to create a flank angle, but Somraj seems to be aware about that possibility.
Yeah, he just backs away. Fine, you guys can go for that type of play. I'm just going to back away. You guys be happy. But yeah, Reckoning Esports' Hunter delivers a blow to Justin. Justin knocked out and finished.
Needs to
Mogo
heal.
Esports. Rough patch, down to a two-man squad. Hunters is one of those players that you can never underestimate, and the opponent was already way too low. Yeah, Mogo Esports says Robin is there in the back lines, providing the cover fire, but what is this disconnect?
This is how normally Robin likes to play and likes to call for his team. He stays way too far back, while he sends all the three players over out forward.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's not providing any sort of value anyways,
Yeah,
man. You're losing out on the player. You're not helping him in an up-close and personal combat.
Exactly. That's the big thing, and that's the big problem. Reckoning, pretty rough beginning for them, but they've got 13 points in their bag. And they've got Gravity Jord up and running. Just like how Entity have got Somraj. I think so he's still going to play in for as many few extra flushes as possible.
Mogo tried to play aggressive, and the tables flipped against them.
Yep. I mean, I have mentioned it multiple times that Mogo is pretty good at defending. But whenever it comes to playing aggressively, this team just does not find their footing. And in BGMS, you need to be aggressive.
Yep, we have been mentioning that since the start of this tournament, right? The only way you can win that trophy is by being aggressive. The Season 3s came in with a lot of surprises, with some new rules as well, and those rules, once again, reward you to be aggressive. We want to see entertainment, and that's what BGMS is driven by. If the players want to play it passive, just like their proper clean style, then things will be rough. Robin, he does catch one player, but that's all he's going to get. Vasista Esports, they claim the last man. Wixkey will be back upon his feet.
Imagine the only man who probably would have wanted to get this finish was the first one to get knocked out.
Yeah, rough luck, right?
Sheesh.
Bad luck. But Vasista Esports, this game has been really good for them. That's a really nice start for the boys. 14 points already accumulated, and it's still counting. 3 players are up and alive. Vasista Esports with a heavy chance of coming out on top in this game. But a team that was not able to get a lot done, it's Raven with just 5 points in the bag. Raven Esports, they're really close to that top 4.
I want to see this time how Team Forever is going to play. Because as you mentioned, Raven Esports very close to that top 4, grabbing those 5 points already, moving their scoreline up to 200 points, but even that is not enough to breach into that top 4. And I think so they're still going to be happy because a lot of teams want to play into the positions of anywhere related to 5 to 8th, so that on the last day they could try and breach in.
The zone moves in a low man's land. And Team Forever, they find themselves a really nice compound to play with. They can definitely spread themselves out a bit more and try and get as much control as possible in this final few moments. That can definitely help them secure the chicken dinner. But Team Forever's Omega is able to catch one man from the opposition team, and that's Vasista Esports. Secret was out in the open, instantly gets capitalized, but not finished just yet. There's a tree in the front that's avoiding the finish from coming through.
For as long as he can survive, it's going to be a big point, right? You want Secret to be up and alive there, but Omega is going to be fired upon from the backlines themselves.
Oh,
it's
no.
Aiku's Soul.
Someone else is entering inside of the fray, and for Vasista Esports, the trouble, they just keep on counting even more. Aiku's Soul, they step in the fray too, as Omega's knocked out for now. And yeah, for Team Forever, rough start to this entire final few moments. For Aiku's Soul, they've had a banger of a performance. They've also claimed a bounty against Global Esports.
Slowly and steadily moving up and forward towards the first page. And we've seen so many times that this team always performs insanely well when it comes to the final few moments. But
Oh,
the Tokyo Drift comes in.
What a drive-by that was. Aiku's Soul wiping out the last man too. And now they keep on moving forward. But unfortunately for them, they're also taking too much damage from the zone itself. And look at Reaper from the back. He stabs Wixkey. Raven Esports, there's just no way Reaper does this. It's so cheeky. It's so annoying. If you're in the shoes of Vasista Esports, you will have a personal grudge against this one single man.
True. You should have now at this point, because there was some good amount of points right in front of that man, but eventually gets taken down. Wixkey Saeed OP this time around on the other side though. Carnival Gaming are trying to take that fight against the members of Team Z. Scout is still up and alive, so the impact player is there. Goblin confirms the pick on Saeed. So it's down to a 3v3 situation now. Numbers equalized.
I like this from CG. Trying to be the alpha males. Assert the dominance on the opponents. I like that. Team Z, they've already lost out on one player. For CG, even they lost out on one player at the start, but with that knockout, they bring the numbers back to the equal grounds. Scout OP is looking to take it up close and personal, but then he just backs away from that fight. Does not want anything to be done up against the players of CG, but Hector closes on up. I like this approach from the man. Hector up close and personal. He knows he's the one with the bounty, but unfortunately, he gets capitalized too. Impact player down and dusted for CG. They're making some desperate moves now.
Desperate moves with rookie mistakes, and you combined it, you have a perfectly cooked disaster. So Carnival Gaming closing out onto the members now, just down to the last two, where Neo is also being fired upon a lot from the other side.
Oh no, for CG this just blows, losing out on the IGL on the impact player too. This is not good. But I'm not sure what else they can do.
True.
I'm genuinely not sure. I mean, they've still got two more players up and alive. This fight can easily be brought back in their favor. But hey, Goblin moves out in the open, wanting to take the fight against the opponent. But Team Z this time, they will be the one with the striking advantage. And Daksh, he finds the closure.
Beautiful play coming in from Team Z, and the patience pays off. All the players get one pick each, but Godlike now finally coming into the action as well. Catching a couple of players already, but now it's going to be the players of one plate who will be trying to fire upon this team. Godlike have got a pretty solid positioning if you talk about it. They've got the compounds, the hard ones that you're supposed to capture as well to stop anyone trying to move down from that southern hill. While also all the way towards the north is where Punk and Admino were. They were making sure that there's no one coming in from behind them. But Scout out in the open will be confirmed as well. Team Forever is not going to let you pass like that.
Yeah, but Team Z in a big world of trouble now. But just 4 eliminations wrapped up in this game. They do have a decent bit of cushioning, but just 5 points in total. And now Godlike from the far fray looking to take the advantage of the entire ruckus that's currently being caused in the front. And Jonathan is the impact player. That's why you see him wanting to be a part of this third party. He wants to claim the knocked out players. Godlike slowly and steadily moving up to that fight. And it makes a lot of sense too, right? Try and take the advantage. Try and be the one to third party. One blade in a big wall of trouble. But God now slaps down 2 players. Tables being flipped against Godlike as the last 2 remaining players, they're still in the compound. Jonathan gets spotted too around the corner, and Sarkar, he delivers that finishing blow to one of the players.
No way One Blade closes this out. There's absolutely no way. Shots still being fired. Finally, Sarkar will fall down to Somraj. The man from Entity wants to get that confirmation on the flush as well. Catches one, will finally fall.
Oh no!
To the safe zone, but look at the amount of damage this guy has done.
It was Mafia from the back to deliver that last man a nade. As the last man explodes to his death, Godlike, they've only got last 2 remaining players. And I'm not sure what else can be done. Jonathan closes on up with that push. It's a vehicle, up close and personal. Mafia is cooking up a nade, and if this nade lands to perfection, Jonathan will be blown out. A little bit of an overshoot, overcook. Jonathan miscalculated another nade. And Jonathan is constantly taking that damage upon himself. This nade is an overshoot too, but this time Ninju finds a perfect connection. Godlike, they will be eliminated from the game. And Team Forever, what a beautiful game that was. Nice way to secure that chicken dinner.
Beautiful performance coming in from Team Forever. Catching to almost all the other players. Entering from the southwestern part. And then claiming that entire position. The circle shifted onto them as well, pushing Godlike towards an awkward angle. And if this team was able to get that chicken, maybe this could have been a great game for Godlike. But another team that did insane was Team Aiku Soul.
Aiku Soul indeed claiming the bounty, getting 17 points at the top as well. This could not have been any better for Aiku Soul. That's a lot of points accumulated, but let's move on to the stage for a short interview.
Boss, इस last stage पे, stage 8, that was Godlike's chicken dinner. 4 player उनके जीवित थे. You came in and grabbed that chicken dinner from you. क्या चल रहा था उस टाइम पे जब 4 टीमें बची थी and end में Godlike तुम्हारे सामने थी?
मतलब हम पे जस्ट बेटर पोजीशन था, उन लोगों पे जोन भी नहीं था, हम पे जोन था एंड हमें पता था कि ये लोगों को ओपन में आना है तो फ्री उठा लेंगे, इतना टफ नहीं होने वाला हमारे लिए।
फाइनली बूट कैंप को डिफेंड करके कैसा लग रहा है?
अच्छा लग रहा है बट अभी मेन और करना है, यही कंटिन्यू करना है।
तो आगे प्लेऑफ्स फाइनल लेट्स कीप दैट असाइड, लेकिन क्या आगे भी यहीं उतरोगे या चेंज करोगे?
मतलब फाइनल्स में फर्स्ट डे उतरेंगे, बाकी हमारा हिस्ट्री अच्छा नहीं रहा है तो सिचुएशन डिपेंड्स क्या करेंगे, बट ड्रॉप हमारा बूट कैंप पे है।
ऐश, हमने देखा है कि जो इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर वाला रूल है ये गजब है, क्योंकि पूरी चीज़ जो है वो 360 डिग्री टर्न हो जाती है। क्या आप खुश हैं कि एज एन IGL आप ही इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर बने हो इस बार अपनी टीम के लिए?
एक्चुअली मतलब इतना खुश नहीं हूँ बट संभाल रहा हूँ सिचुएशन। ऑब्वियसली ये लोग पे रहता तो ये लोग फ्रीली ज़्यादा फ्रैग्स उठाते हैं तो अच्छा हमें प्रॉफिट होता, तो वो थोड़ा हमारे एंड से मेरे को लगा था कि इन तीनों के नाम मतलब सबके डालता हूँ, इन तीनों में से किसी का आ जाएगा तो सबको चांस मिल रहा है, वो मेरा ही आ गया।
भाई इतना क्यों मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, जरा बताओ यार, बताओ ना।
नहीं, मुस्कुराने वाली वही बात ही नहीं है। वो तो अब ऐश भाई भी हैं तो ऐश भाई भी फ्रैगर रैंक एक अपने टीम के, कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है। इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर हम चारों में से कोई भी हो,
काम होना चाहिए बस, दैट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। लेकिन लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, ये था आज का आखिरी मैप, एक छोटा सा ब्रेक और उसके बाद इस पे होगी डिस्कशन।
हम शरीफ क्या हुए, पूरी लॉबी ही बदमाश हो गई। फियर फॉरएवर।
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Another day, another road, and we go. A ride with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen?
Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna lead. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now, wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Team Forever to close that game off. Yes, nicely done. They do get the chicken dinner, but they did not really have a lot of elimination points. But a team that had a banger of a game and that put their game face on was definitely iQOO Seoul with our Garnier Men face wash.
Absolutely, performing phenomenally, just
Yeah.
like how that face wash makes you glow. That team was glowing and was shining like unlike any other, right? Because as soon as the map began, we were talking about the fact that Camp Alpha is where we want to see that fight, and everyone was just blades out. It was seeming something like right out of Kimetsu no Yaiba, where you have got samurais fighting against each other.
I did not know what you just say.
I know.
But yeah, I probably said something that involves machetes and swords and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Beast was over there, right? Trying to slice and dice through the opponents. He did take down one as well. He was trying to take down the second player. He dished out the damage, but no confirmations. iQOO Seoul, just because they had the weaponry in their hands before the opponents, that's why they were the one to come out on top. And Manya, luckily enough, he got his hands on the DBS. All it takes is one single shot.
Yeah, true.
Up close and personal. And the opponent's done for.
True, but even on the other side, there was this Thompson SMG, right? You really do not want to be that very close because Manya survived on that 1 HP. I mean, 1 HP.
He did, but at the same time, you need to at least land 5 or 6 bullets to try and take down your opponent.
True.
While DBS one single pump, and you're done for in that range. You move on towards the MVP of that previous game. It's going to be Somraj from Entity Gaming. For the first time, I'm seeing the man who take the charge when it comes to the finishes. 5 finishes wrapped up. Let's move on to the stars of that previous game. And this time, it's going to be Somraj with going all out. Best companion as Manya. And the finisher, it's going to be Ninju.
4 finishes for that man himself and Team Forever, if I'm not wrong. Last when I checked, they had 9. I guess they claimed 2 from Godlike as well, so they moved up to 11. The amount of points, still a big question because if their impact player got a few or not is going to be the main part about it. But I still think so, both iQOO Seoul as well as Team Forever, they had a pretty solid game. Both of them should be over that 20-point mark. For iQOO Seoul, I think so they can also move over the 30-point mark.
They definitely can. For iQOO Seoul, this was a really banger of a performance. And this is something that was desperately needed too from the boys.
True.
And as I mentioned, even the impact player system now coming in, even Ronnie getting a few elimination points here and there, even that's going to give the additional bonus that the players needed. They also claimed the bounty on top of Global Esports, so that's additional 10 points. I don't think so they got any placement points considering they were eliminated quite early, but they do not even need that anyways. But Godlike, this team has been really consistent.
Yes, absolutely. As you mentioned, the team has been really consistent, but another player that was pretty consistent in this one was as the Garnier's Men impact player of the match was Somraj with the 5 finishes himself.
Man.
We were talking about it. KSR7 on the other side from One Blade doing a phenomenal job. And then, of course, it's Ronnie for iQOO Seoul. You always have this man step up whenever it comes to the weekends.
I mean, Entity just knowing exactly what they need to do. Somraj was the one who possessed the powers, and he utilized those powers in the perfect fashion. Getting those 5 eliminations granted him extra bit of points, and now Entity, they might just be doing decent in the overall board, considering they got eliminated quite in a bad fashion in the previous game. But moving forward, Godlike, they had quite a decent game too, as we all know, but still some of the teams that we had expectations from were not able to perform. But this is what a big bummer looks like for Global Esports. Now, slowly and steadily, the teams underneath them, they're catching on up. That first position seems compromisable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm not wrong with the way how Reckoning were able to quickly grab those early few points, they have already breezed into that first place. So I know you're laughing over the fact how every single one was just slicing and dicing each other, just cutting apart their bodies. But eventually, it was iQOO Seoul. We were waiting for this since day 1, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And now we are finally served with that Camp Alpha duel. That was absolutely amazing. But another team that was doing pretty amazing was Manchester Esports. But Revenant is going to have nightmares for that.
I mean, just look at One Blade's KSR7. He knows he's the impact player, and he's just mowing down the lawns in the front, just randomly shooting. He's not even going for precision. He's just spraying down that area, hoping that something will connect. He did find one knockout. But Sister Esports, too, they tried things off in a pretty aggressive manner. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. And then later on, we also saw quite a heroic entry from the opponents, and that's where Sister Esports collapsed. One single man from Raven Esports to deliver that finishing blow, too. And for Wasista Esports, I'm not going to be surprised if they hold a special grudge against that one single man.
Yeah, Reaper. I think so at this point they might as well want to target the side of Raven. But then over towards the end as well, Team Forever having that high ground. And here's the funny part. Godlike, they had almost 60% of the previous zone. They were on a 2-2 split. They were controlling the hill in the north. They were controlling the hard compounds. And guess where the circle took an entire hard shift? over towards the southwest.
I mean, Godlike, they did try to be a little bit proactive, right? They sent 2 of the players to take the fight against one blade.
Yes.
But then one single man just flips the table against Godlike. Godlike had all the 4 players alive, but still they messed up in a big fashion. And only because they went 1-for-1 peak.
Yeah.
That's where they messed up. If they would have went for a double peak at the same time, then things could have been different in that duel. Kana would have definitely been confused, but they messed up by giving the player 1-by-1 peak. And now match rankings on the screen. 29 points accumulated from Iku Soul. The most amount of points. Team Forever with 27. Look at Entity with 26 points. Magnificent performances from these 3 teams.
Absolutely mind-blowing. And it's all the teams who were down from the position of 3rd up until 11th and 12th. Iku Soul has finally been brought back, have been revived, you can say. This team is finally performing, not out of the mind yet, but absolutely magnificent manner. But over towards the end as well, we're seeing all the other teams. Global Esports taking the early exit. It's fine, it's just one game. But Mogo, WSB, yeah, that's unfortunate. Revenant as well on the other side. For Revenant, I still feel, I mean, they had absolutely no clue about Somraj, and he came as that one question which is never in the syllabus.
I mean, for Revenant Esports, they wanted to play passive. They wanted to play that offensive play style. Sensei, he mentioned this at the start of the interview too, that, yeah, they're not going to go for the top 4 just yet. They are going to wait it out for today. And then tomorrow, when the push comes to shove, that's when they're directly going to take the leap in the top 4. Today's day is already done. Revenant Esports getting 0 points. That's a big pushback.
Absolutely, as you mentioned about that, getting no points whatsoever means you really needed that 5 to 10 points at least at the bare minimum, so that you could have basically climbed up to the amount of what your opponent would have. But I mean, the man who was basically so far ahead than everyone else was Fierce.
6 finishes. That's the least amount of finishes that we've seen so far for a standout player, right? Fierce with just 6 finishes being the standout player, and I think so the major chunk of those finishes came in from the first game itself, right? The Miramar game where Fierce was popping off for Carpedium. And speaking of Carpedium too, even they've had quite a decent day today.
Yes.
Slowly and steadily, the teams that were losing their form, they're gaining it back. Even Vasista Esports, they did not do too bad. But let's move on to Serain for this interview with the standout player.
ये हमारा बंगला है वो 1 BHK जहाँ पे वो सारे बैठे हुए हैं और यहाँ पे मैं खड़ा हूँ कार्पेडियम के फियर्स के साथ. Congratulations, 6 finishes. First question, तुमसे अभी जब मैं बात कर रहा था ऑफ कैमरा, तुम उतने फियर्स हो नहीं, so where did this name come from?
ये तो यार मेरा इसके पीछे बहुत बड़ा कहानी है. मेरे को देखो इस नेम के पीछे रीज़न नहीं पता मैंने क्यों लगाया, पर बस एक दिन आ गया दिमाग में कि यही मैं नेम कैरी करूँगा इस गेम में आगे, फियर्स असॉल्टर का.
फियर्स आज की बात करें तो शुरुआत वो फियर्स वाली नहीं थी, लेकिन उसके बाद यू मैनेज टू मेक अ कमबैक. यू वर जस्ट स्लो ऑन द अपटेक. तो क्या बदलाव किया दैट यू वर एबल टू डू दैट?
मेनली तो इसका क्रेडिट टीममेट्स को जाता है मेरे, क्योंकि इस टूर्नामेंट के स्टार्ट से ही मेरा मतलब उतना अच्छे मैचेस नहीं जा रहे थे, उतना मैं इम्पैक्ट नहीं डाल पा रहा था टीम के लिए. लेकिन अभी चल के आई थिंक ये एक मैच था जो मेरे को मोमेंटम दिया है थोड़ा बहुत, और बाकी फाइनल्स के लिए भी पूरा रेडी हूँ. तो इस बार तो आगे तो करने वाला हूँ मैं.
इतने टाइम से आप रेवेनेंट में थे और अब कार्पेडियम में, हाउ इज दैट फीलिंग?
तो रेवेनेंट में भी मैं अपना गेम खेलता ही था मोस्टली, लेकिन कार्पेडियम में ऐसा है कि जो माइंडसेट मैं कैरी करता हूँ गेम को लेके कि मेरे को एग्रेसिव जाना है, जो एग्रेशन मेरी टीम कैरी करती है वो एकदम सबका सेम है. तो इस वजह से ये फ़र्क है बस रेवेनेंट और कार्पेडियम में. हम लोग बहुत एग्रेसिव खेलते हैं कार्पेडियम.
राइट, अग्रेसिव की आप बात कर रहे हैं, सो लेट मी जस्ट पुट अ हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन. ये ऑडियंस का क्वेश्चन है. इफ यू हैड टू पिक 3 other players for your dream team, तो किसके साथ?
3 अदर प्लेयर्स यार देखो अभी तो मेरी जो टीम है वही है, पर 3 अलग प्लेयर तो मैं क्या ही बोलूँ. तो हाँ, मैं ये सोल की लाइनअप में खेलना चाहूँगा. मतलब उनका जो 3 प्लेयर्स का है, रॉनी, नकुल और मान्या, उनके साथ मैं देख सकता हूँ. मतलब उनका है, उनसे सीखने को काफ़ी मिल जाएगा मेरे को.
आखिरी सवाल, आज सैटरडे है, कल एक दिन और है और कल दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा. कौन सी 4 टीमें डायरेक्ट टिकट लेके फाइनल्स पहुंच रही है और कौन सी टीम्स जा रही हैं प्लेऑफ्स खेलने के लिए? यू गाइस, कार्पेडियम हैव जस्ट मैनेज्ड टू क्लाइम अप टू दैट 4th स्पॉट. दिन की शुरुआत के पहले क्या ये कॉन्वर्सेशन चलती हैं कि क्या करना है, क्या डू वी गो फॉर इट ऑल आउट, हम फाइनल्स के लिए डायरेक्ट क्वालिफाई करें, या नहीं अभी हम लोग प्लेऑफ्स में ही रहने की कोशिश करते हैं?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कोई टीम नहीं सोचेगी कि प्ले.
नहीं, कुछ टीम्स थी भाई, इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ.
पता नहीं फिर वो टीम्स पता नहीं क्यों खेल रही है.
लेकिन फिर यही है, हम लोग जो सर्वाइवल वीक था उसमें ही मेनली हम लोग ऐसा नहीं सोच रहे थे कि टॉप 4 के लिए खेलेंगे। सर्वाइवल वीक में हम पूरा एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे थे, ये वो फाइट्स ले रहे थे इधर उधर, लेकिन ये वीक से हमारा यही गोल है कि टॉप 4 में रहना है और अच्छे से सीखना भी है ताकि हम रेडी रहे आगे के लिए जो भी है इस टूर्नामेंट में।
ये जो आखिरी जवाब था ना, इसमें इसने अपने नाम के मुताबिक जवाब दिया है। दैट वाज अ वेरी फियर्स आंसर। बॉयज, यहाँ से आपकी कहानी शुरू होती है।
I mean, Carpedium regaining that lost glory. They're in the top 4 once again, but can they sustain it? That's the real question. Tomorrow's the last day to be there in the top 4, and for all the other teams who are right underneath that top 4 area, for them to breach up.
To be honest, we really haven't seen those many amount of bounty hunts for the past few days, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, we've seen drop collisions, but we haven't seen any team specifically targeting the other one to claim that bounty. And it seems like tomorrow is basically the last day for all the teams who would be somewhere around the 8th spot all the way to the 13th spot to try and go for that bounty steal.
I mean, talk about the bounty steal, and today we saw some of the major chunk of those under-fragging team getting targeted, right? WSB One Blade was also getting targeted for a while. Even 8-Bit, they were getting hit back pretty hard. 8-Bit, they were not able to perform in the first game itself. Team Tumble has once again taken a piece of the players of 8-Bit, and then even their other team, which was WSB, even they got targeted. So for WSB and 8-Bit, and for One Blade, the teams that are not doing too hot, they can still go for that griefing point. They can still try and spoil some games. But One Blade, I think so they still do stand a chance a bit.
We'll have to actually check the entire standings one more time again, because I think so they very much might, but it needs to be a bonkers performance, just like how Reckoning did, probably outshining the Reckoning as well to try and pull that off, to maybe get themselves in that reaching 4 lines. But yeah, they need to be super fearless for that.
They indeed need to be super fearless. And speaking about the super fearless, here are the Philips One Blade moments of the day. And this is how the entire action kicked off. As I mentioned, Team Timbalas taking a piece of 8-Bit, wiping them out instantly as soon as the map started. And it makes a lot of sense too, right? The players being frustrated, not knowing exactly what happened with them. Even Godsreen did not have that good of a day today. Now I really want to find out, did Godsreen get kicked out of that top 4?
It seems to be, but I think so the one that actually got kicked out was probably Team Tamilas, because they were the ones who were at 190 points. Yes, they did claim a few, but I think so after that, yeah, since they probably only played one today, I don't think so they have an opportunity to be in that 4th spot now. So they are probably at 5th. But again, the first game, as we were talking about it, Carnival Gaming had the prime spot, but this is the whole part about it. This is the whole point of BGMS. Even though you've got the prime spot, you might not be the one to claim the maximum points.
Yeah, first game was chicken dinner with just 14 points accumulated. For CG, the second game was a big bomb. They tried to switch the pace up, they tried to go aggressive, and things still did not work out.
Yep.
Even though CG, they've got a powerhouse underneath their belts, unfortunately, some main shot calls were made in quite a panicky situation. And the second game kicked off with IQ Soul versus Global Esports. The classic drop location, where IQ Soul this time were the one to come out on top, and just look at the way they were slicing and dicing each other up.
Absolutely, that one last battle where it was eventually Manya clutching it out in Global Esports, not winning that one. Bounty being lost and basically stolen away by IQ Soul, which eventually led them to get that banger of a 29-point game and be the ones who have the maximum points in this one.
Yeah, I mean, CG taking quite a questionable approach against Team Z, where Hector pushed on up for no reason. I do understand he wants to play a little bit aggressive, claim as many points as possible, considering he's the one to hold the powers. But still, you cannot go for such a random approach, such a random push. Godlike as well, making quite some questionable moves in that fight, where the two of the players pushed up close and personal, and things just clearly did not work out. And you can see the disappointment between the players too, right? Having the conversation, why did you do so? You should have went the other way. You should have done something else.
Yes, some questions being asked left, right and center, but the one who were able to answer them was definitely Team Forever, doing a phenomenal job, getting that chicken dinner as well. If I'm not wrong, they had 27 points for themselves, and then Entity on the back of Somraj. I mean, the man is carrying with a mark and with a statement.
We did not see Entity's performance coming through, I'm not going to lie. I did not think Entity had so many points. But IQ Soul, at the end of the day, they were at the top, and that's what that matters. And IQ Soul, with this game, it's going to be a big leap in the overall standings too. And I think so they're probably going to be there in the top 8. This is a big sign for the fans that maybe tomorrow IQ Soul can breach in the top 4. The glimmer of hope is back for the boys.
Highly possible, because we always talk about this team in a manner where in the early phases of any event, they don't really perform, or they're always towards the bottom half of the board. and then eventually when it comes to the last week or the last few days, this is like a switch that basically turns on this team, and they move so far ahead in such flying color that it seems that they're probably still flying in that airplane.
Hey, but my eyes are still going to be pinned on Vasista Esports tomorrow. Today's day was quite decent. They did not showcase an outstanding performance, but they were getting those constant points between 10 to 12. But tomorrow's day, Vasista Esports will have more games to play, and that's where they can excel a bit more.
Absolutely. I really want to see how teams will excel in tomorrow's day, because the pressure is going to be even higher onto them. While you've already mentioned about the pressure is very high, but one person who's going to break down all the pressure is coming.
थैंक यू सो मच जॉनी। और यस, जिस तरीके से आज के दिन की शुरुआत हुई, अंत भी उतना ही ज़्यादा कुछ टीमों के लिए बेहतर रहा, लेकिन सबके लिए बेहतर हो ये ज़रूरी नहीं। और उसी तरीके से अगर मैं सनॉक की बात करता हूँ तो मुझे टीम जी की पता नहीं क्यों याद आ जाती, क्योंकि वहीं पे उन्होंने अपना वो पहला चिकन डिनर निकाला था, और आज भी उस टीम के अगेंस्ट वो डोमिनेशन हमें होता हुआ देखने को मिला, जो टीम कल के डे पे आके बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान किए थे। कार्निवल गेमिंग के अगेंस्ट ये फाइट हुई थी। चलिए इस फाइट के थोड़े बारे में विस्तार से हम चर्चा करते हैं, जहाँ पे अगर आप पोजिशनिंग देखें, यहीं से वो साफ साफ हमें देखने को मिल रहा है कि स्काउट के पास एक एंगल है, सामने कंपाउंड के अंदर भी एक प्लेयर, और बीच में जो सेटअप बिठाया गया था हेक्टर के अगेंस्ट, वो लाजवाब था। इस वीडियो के माध्यम से हम साफ देख पाएंगे ये जो एंगल यहाँ पे बनाया गया था। अगर आप देखें, सबसे बड़ी बात रही किस तरफ आप देख पाओगे, एक बार में एक ही एंगल आप चेक कर पाते हो, और सैंडविच होना ये किसी भी प्लेयर के लिए बहुत ही हानिकारक बात होती है, और वो एग्जैक्टली हेक्टर के साथ ये शुरुआत हुई। और उसके बाद जो फाइट का सिलसिला था वो मौका मिला नहीं अपोनेंट को, खास करके अगर कार्निवल की बात करें, यहाँ पे इंस्टेंटली इन्हें नॉक किया गया, खत्म किया गया। और उसके बाद ये जो मूवमेंट था, जहाँ पे अगर आप देखें कोशिश काफ़ी अच्छी थी गॉब्लिन की तरफ से कि स्मोक करेंगे, उसके पीछे हाइड होंगे और स्प्रे करेंगे। आपको लास्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन रहता है, और रैंडम प्रेडिक्टेबल शॉट्स के साथ आप प्लेयर्स को डाउन करते। ये सोच अच्छी थी, लेकिन सामने से भी काउंटर कई बार बेहतर हमें देखने को मिलता है, और एग्जैक्टली वही हमें होता हुआ देखने को मिला। अगर यहाँ पे देखिए, जो एंगल सामने वाले प्लेयर्स के पास था वो बहुत बेहतर, गॉब्लिन यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं कर पाए, इनकी एचपी भी उतनी कुछ खास यहाँ पे बची नहीं। इनिशियली वो नॉक लिए, और उसके बाद चीज़ें और ज़्यादा इनके अगेंस्ट चलती ही चली गई। और इसके बाद ये सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग लगा मुझे, अगर आप देखिए, सबसे पहले गेट को डिस्ट्रॉय किया गया, गेट को तोड़ा गया, ताकि वो जो एंगल आप बनाते हो, कवर में जाते हो, वो ऑप्शन आपके पास था ही नहीं। और उसके बाद अगर आप इस वीडियो में वापस से मैं नज़र लेके चलूँ, ये वो पॉइंट था जहाँ पे अगर आप देखें ऑलरेडी एक प्रेशर यहाँ पे हमें बनता हुआ देखने को मिल रहा है। गॉब्लिन का नॉक, यहाँ से उनके पास एक ही ऑप्शन था, नियो। मैं बस याद दिलाना चाहूँगा, ये वही खिलाड़ी है जो कि 2 बार 1v4 और 1v3 हमें करते हुए देखने को मिला है, अलग अलग टीमों के अगेंस्ट, अलग अलग मैप में। लेकिन ये सिचुएशन अगर आप देखें, एचपी वाइज इनकी एचपी उतनी खास यहाँ पे थी नहीं। सबसे हाईलाइटिंग फीचर हमें देखने को मिलेगा, गेट ऑलरेडी डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया गया था, जिसके कारण इनके पास 2 ऑप्शन थे। अगर ये यहाँ पे पहले शॉट में मिस करते तो इनके पास वो गेट का भी एंगल था, जिससे नियो का बचना यहाँ पे लगभग नामुमकिन था। और इसी का फायदा इनको आखिर में, अगर आप देखें, सीधा जंप, और वो एकदम से कनेक्शन बनाने में कामयाब हो गए। नियो को तो समझ ही भी नहीं आया होगा कि भाई ये हुआ तो हुआ क्या, एक मौका तो मुझे मिलता, और मुझे पता है अगर उन्हें वो दूसरा मौका मिलता तो टीम जी के लिए यहाँ पे चीज़ें बिगड़ सकती थी। और यही वो पॉइंट्स थे जो मैं यहाँ पे आपके सामने लाना चाहता था, क्योंकि सैनहॉक में जब भी हम टीम जी को देख रहे हैं, हर बार बेहतर नतीजा उनके लिए आ रहा है। हालांकि और बेहतर की गुंजाइश रहेगी आने वाले दिनों में, और मुझे लगता है कि वो निराश नहीं करेंगे उनके फैंस को भी। बट इसी के साथ कास्टर्स, आपको क्या लगता है, क्या टीम जी का हमें कमबैक देखने को मिल सकता है?
I mean, Team Z's comeback, it's a little bit too late to ask, but I would like to bring in some correction towards that Telestrator segment where Hector just stepped inside of that spring trap. He himself invited Scout OP inside of that building. Now, Scout OP knew exactly what was going on. There was a vehicle moving towards that building, and he wanted to provide a cover fire to his teammate. That's why he pushed up. He did not create an angle. He opened the door. He pushed up because he knew exactly what was going through the opponent's head.
True, it was basically Hector jumping into a trap that was never even there. He created it entirely himself. But yeah, that was indeed a still fun breakdown coming in from Raman. But on the other side of the spectrum now, yes, as the question he asked, you've already answered it. Even I'm going to put my words into it that I don't think so Team Z can actually make a comeback right now, but still there are other teams that we can actually look forward to. Carpedium, we've been talking about them. There's also Vasista Esports, who finally resurged after getting a few 13-14 important points in the second game itself. There's also Godlike, who's consistently performing right now. Aiku's Soul. I think so these are the teams that can actually move up.
Hands down. I mean, for Ico Soul now, they have activated themselves to be in that top 4.
Yes.
And this comeback is now definitely having a lot of the potential. They've also got the momentum, as you mentioned. Moving for tomorrow's day, we are going to witness 3 games. As we know, on the last day of the weekend, 3 games are being played. Enough chances for these teams to go for the comeback. And for Revenue Esports, today's day was a big mess up. Sensei's position is definitely going to be dropped down in the overall storyboard.
Absolutely true. Probably moving in over towards the 8th or the 7th spot if in case they're lucky, maybe even over towards the 9th. But one good amazing thing is what's in front of us right now, and it's the Iron Man edition of the TVS bike, and this comes with so much use. I mean, we already talked about with 99 connected features, and it also comes in with a TFT screen. That's insane, right? It's super wicked.
Yeah, I mean, just like the man sitting right on top of it, Vishjare. I mean, recently his performance hasn't been up to the mark, but we know his capability. We know what he can possess. OG, in general, recently they have been looking really nice. They have been hitting back to the lobby, and we know tomorrow's day holds a lot of value for all the teams in the top 10. The top 4, if they're not able to keep their spot pinned down, it will be instantly compromised for the teams right underneath. It's all about that comeback story.
Absolutely, that comeback story is going to be super crucial, and specifically with all the impact players now also in the play, you know that today was also a pretty decent day. Not as much as we would have expected them, the teams, to adjust, but one that was able to do that was definitely Entity on the back of Somraj. We've been talking about it, and the praises are still going to be sung over tomorrow itself, because if I'm not wrong, it was Ronnie who had quite a lot of finishes back in the previous week.
I mean, looking at the overall standings, the top 4 is pretty clear. As you mentioned, Team Tamil has been kicked out, but it's not just a small kick, it's a big kick all the way down to the 6th spot. Raven Esports, they move up to the 5th. This is a big sign of worry. Look at Vasista Esports, not that far behind in the points table. Even OG is right there. Revenue Esports on the 9th spot. You've got Team Forever on the 10th. Team Forever is on that uphill climb. For Revenue Esports tomorrow, at least one single game has to be a nuclear performance. The latter half of the board is going to look even interesting. Ico Soul have activated themselves to have that potential to move into the top 4.
Yes, absolutely. And they are also at 185 points.
God,
there are
4
3 teams for 185, 1 team at 186. This is absolutely bonkers. These teams can go bonkers again tomorrow itself to try and pull themselves up. But I think so. The last team that would have that opportunity to do would be Entity. Apart from them, I don't think so any other team would be able to make it into the top 4 tomorrow.
Imagine 3 points separating these teams from moving up to the overall storyboard in a really remarkable spot. All it takes is 2 to 3 points, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting way too close. It's getting way too intense. And these impact players, I'm not going to lie, today's day started off in quite a questionable fashion. I thought, considering it's the weekend, considering it's also the impact rule coming back to the play, I thought Miramar game would be really aggressive, but instead it was quite a passive start.
And it was so very passive that even till that last few circles, we had 13 to 14 teams remaining. So that's how you know that teams are basically moving back to their slow passive playstyle. But again, Circle doing its own shenanigans, moving away from the people, forcing those fights. But a player that was doing insane today was Ronnie yet again. The impact player, the most impactful player title should be given to him.
Hands down, Ronnie is getting so much value squeezed out for his team with this one single rule. Gravity Jot, though, being an IGL, still not that far behind. Just 2 points separating him and Ronnie. Then you've got Samraj from Entity Gaming with those 10 crucial points squeezed away in the last game of the day. And that was the only game that Entity played. Scout OP's not that far behind too. 8 points accumulated. KSR 7 right there. Aim God from Raven Esports. Tomorrow, this man needs to pop off. He needs to put on a God mode.
Absolutely, and it's Aim God, Wixkey, Ronnie, Gravity Jord, all of these players who are finding the impact in the power play itself. KSR 7 with 1 as well, but as we move on to the other half, Hector, Destro, Safe, Mac, Shikari, Beast, Manti, Ninja, AK, all of them not finding anything. I'm pretty surprised seeing AK and Beast here though.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird to see these two guys, right? I mean, for Global Esports, understandable. They went for a drop collision against Ico Soul, ended up giving them the bounty points. Unfortunately for the players of Global Esports, they did not even have the suitable weaponry to fight off. They only had machetes. While you talk about the other teams, for CG, Hector on 0, now that's something that's going to be heartbreaking for the fans. The first game was decent with 14 points, but still not enough to keep CG in the race.
Because here's the thing, Hector yet again stand was in a very passive position as you compare it with where the rest of the players were standing. Now this is what we call some quick adaptations, and you need to be very quick in order to enter the TVS Raider most wicked player list.
Oh, Hunter's at the top once again with 42 eliminations. Beast with 42 as well. AKOP is not that far behind with 39. He needs only 3 to tie up. You've got Ninja Boy as well with 39. 2 players from Global Esports on the first page. Maxi OP from Team Tumales with only 38. Now moving towards the latter half of the board. Even the competition is not that far behind. AimGod with 37, just 1 point separating him for going to that tie.
Absolutely, but then it's Fury, Gravity Jord, Max and Slug. Fury on 35, Rest 3 on 34. Now there are 3 players from Global Esports in this entire list. And that's actually menacing if you're any other team out there. I mean, 3 of the players, and all 3 of them are fraggers.
Yeah.
Arcelin is the man who is the IGL. He does not need to be in that list.
Exactly. Now just imagine this one thing. Tomorrow's the last day for this entire league stage. How many targeting we're going to see. Just imagine how many aggressive approaches we're going to see. For so many teams, the lifeline depends on that one single day. Yes. And for other teams, all they need to do is just pin that spot down in the top 4. For some of the teams on the bottom 4, the bottom 6, they're definitely going to go for that target. But who are they going to target?
That's a big question and a big point which you mentioned. Maybe OG, maybe Revenant, maybe Raven. There are so many teams out there who really need just one solid good game to try and jump and to breach into that top 4. But as we've been talking about it, till Entity, they've got an opportunity. Any team that's below Entity, because there's a 10-point gap, I think so it's going to be even more difficult. But we don't know what tomorrow holds, and we've got 3 games, so I'm super excited.
Entity Gaming has been looking really confident in what they showcased today, and tomorrow they're going to play some more games. Entity Gaming will have enough chances to make that comeback in the overall storyboard before IQ Soul and Godlike still the fans, their eyes are pinned in the overall story. If Godlike messes up tomorrow, it will be a big mess up, costing them a slot to the grand finals directly. But then Godlike will have to move through the depths of hell.
Absolutely. It's going to be super fun, super amazing, and I'm excited to see which all teams will be consistent. But ladies and gentlemen, all that action is going to be brought to you for tomorrow. For today, we're going to be taking your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.